get out to a lead because the Sixers are shorthanded, and he gets into a comfort zone because there's no pressure on him to make plays late in the game. If they get up double digits, they're up 15, 20 in the first half, you're going to see Ben Simmons relax, and maybe he has a good stat line.
Tim Legler on First Take. No LeBron James again for the Lakers tonight against the Suns. He's out a fifth straight game with a groin strain. Manchester United confirmed that Cristiano Ronaldo and the club mutually agreed to part ways effective immediately. ESPN reported last week Man U was seeking to terminate Ronaldo's contract following his criticism of the club and manager in an interview. Baseball, Phillies extended GM Dave Dombrowski's contract through 2027.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. A lot to get to. Maybe the biggest story in college football right now, not involving the playoff and those direct ties right there, is what's going on simultaneously in Oxford and in Auburn. If you missed it yesterday, there was a report out of Mississippi that Lane Kiffin is going to take the Auburn job after Friday's Egg Bowl. This was from John Sokoloff. He has a verified Twitter account. He is the sports director for WCBI, covering Mississippi State, Ole Miss, basically the state of Mississippi. He tweeted last evening, Monday evening, breaking, of course, whenever you're going to get the all caps, breaking. Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin plans to step down as the Rebels head coach Friday and head to Auburn to become the Tigers' next head coach, according to sources. He also adds, sources say the Tigers haven't officially offered the job to anyone yet, so Lane to Auburn is happening. Story soon. Okay. Muse is looking at me perplexed. He's essentially saying that that's a denial because that's what happens in these things. Nobody's outwardly going to come out and say, yeah, of course, we've offered him the job. So if John Sokoloff, who has contacts within the Ole Miss athletic department or the Auburn athletic department, as I would presume, covering the SEC, and if he's getting the no comment or they haven't offered the job to anyone, well, I mean, of course, they're not going to break the story right now, days before the game. So that's his assumption that it's happening. Well, Lane Kiffin followed up, as you probably saw, with a pretty fantastic tweet where Lane Kiffin actually went and quote tweeted John Sokoloff's tweet and essentially slammed him and denied it. At this point, you can choose to believe whatever you want. I do like, here was the tweet from Lane Kiffin. He quote tweeted John Sokoloff's tweet and said, "That's news to me, John." Face palm emoji. Nice sources. Then Lane went and basically recreated the tweet that John Sokoloff did, saying that they were replacing John Sokoloff, that he was leaving for another job. Basically just turned it on him. Anyway, this is why it's relevant. And we're going to go to Auburn here in about 10 minutes. Zac Blackerby, our buddy from Locked on Auburn and auburnsports.com, is going to be with us. But the Lane Kiffin story matters because, I say this often, one of my theories is the balance of power theory. When you're LSU and every year you have to play Auburn and you have to play Bama and you have to play Florida and you have to play A&M and all these schools with a lot of resources, you need Ole Miss to be a runt. You need Mississippi State to not be good. I don't need Ole Miss going to Sugar Bowls under Lane Kiffin or Hugh Freeze. I need Ole Miss what they were under Ed Ogeron. I need Ole Miss to be the Ole Miss under Matt Luke. That's what I need from Ole Miss. I need to be able to take my Sharpie when I get the schedule before every season and scribble a W next to the Mississippi schools if I'm LSU. So I need Lane Kiffin gone, because chances are whoever is next ain't going to be as good as Lane Kiffin. And I always expect Auburn to be good. That's always a tough game. Even when this year, Auburn's not good, LSU had a tough game on the Plains. So I don't care if Lane Kiffin is at Auburn. So I don't know what Lane's going to do. Get asked often, would Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss? Yes, Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss. Every coach would leave anywhere that they are, except for maybe Nick Saban leaving Alabama at this point. Coaches leave. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame. Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. Coaches leave. They look for better opportunities. They get them, they go. So, yes, of course Lane Kiffin would leave Ole Miss. I just don't know that Lane Kiffin will leave Ole Miss for Auburn. I think that's the big question right now. And listen, it's not just John Sokoloff. Zac Blackerby has said on his podcast he believes that Lane Kiffin's going to be the Auburn coach. Blaine Crane from Crane & Company has said the same, that he believes it's going to be Lane Kiffin, that it's all but done. I'm not so confident. I've just covered enough of these over the years to know that generally, let me rephrase that. I've covered enough of these over the years to know that even when it's done, it ain't ever done until the coach is at the podium being introduced. And even sometimes still then, it ain't really done. So read Billy Donovan. Pat Murphy, the softball coach, who LSU got from Alabama to come, was introduced, and a day later was like, I made a mistake. We're going back to Alabama. Like, happens, okay? So even if some people are assuming at Auburn that this is done with Lane Kiffin, we've been down that road. LSU, Jimbo Fisher in 2015 was done. Tom Herman in 2016 was done. I mean, there have been times where these things are done and they fall apart at the last hour. I mean, it happens. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you anything's done with Lane Kiffin. I certainly don't know. My opinion, I'll give you an opinion. I think Lane to Auburn is a smokescreen. Just like we saw in 2016 with LSU, the Jimbo talk was a smokescreen for Tom Herman. Last year, the Lincoln Riley conversations were very real and and were progressing. But clearly, Brian Kelly or Scott Woodward had his sights on Brian Kelly. So I think that's probably what's happening here. Lane Kiffin is probably a smokescreen for whatever the real hire is going to be, which might be Matt Rule. I don't know. Maybe they're, courting Hugh Freeze. Don't know. But that's my guess, is that Lane is a smokescreen. I believe Lane would leave Ole Miss. I do. If he wants to win a championship, he ain't going to do it at Ole Miss. So, yes, I believe he would leave. I don't know that he would leave for Auburn, and I guess we'll find out here in, about 72 hours or so. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. This is pretty cool. I got a text on the show text line just a little bit ago from a guy named Hank Ludwig. Hope he doesn't mind me sharing his name. Hank is in Olive Branch, Mississippi, and he texted me a picture of a Michelli truck on a job site in Olive Branch, Mississippi. He said 5.5 hours away, W-E-I-G-H, away instead of away. Love the play on words there. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, 75 years in business, coast to coast, 29 offices across 11 different states, including Mississippi, 6 calibration labs right here in Louisiana, and they are hiring. You can always get to Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Hit the careers tab right there at the top of the page and apply for the jobs that they have open right now. You want to start the new year with a new career at a place that's stable and been around for 75 years, Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Also, favorite night of the week. I'm jacked for it. Muse, you jacked about this? Paulie, you jacked for tonight?
Can't wait.
Having a watch party tonight, guys. We're going to hang out in studio.
No, you leave every week.
Yeah, no, I'm going to leave. Of course I'm leaving. I'm not staying here to watch a stupid ranking shows. You kidding me? I was so pumped last week. Are we getting preempted? Are ranking shows getting preempted tonight for basketball again?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that it's only a one-time thing around that tournament each year.
Do you know, or are you guessing?
I'm remembering from previous years. No, I'm remembering from previous years.
What do you know from tonight?
No, but precedent, Matt.
Okay.
It's preempted once a year.
Just go look it up. So no, tell me. Anyway, point is, the ranking show is going to be tonight, and I fully expect that Southern Cal is going to leapfrog LSU, just like they did in the AP and the coaches poll. I fully expect everyone listening to completely melt and be beside themselves tomorrow. And I'm going to sit here and say, I don't care. I don't care if LSU after today is 5. I don't care if LSU is 6. I don't care if LSU is 60. It doesn't matter until you beat A&M and beat Georgia and see what else happens. What I will continue to say over and over and over again is LSU needs help. LSU, as a 2-loss conference champion, I do not believe will get in over a bunch of 1-loss conference champions. And people say often, there's no way that the SEC champ gets left out. There's no way the SEC gets left out. But just like Georgia a year ago lost the SEC championship game to Bama and still got in, same thing here. If Georgia were to lose the SEC championship game to LSU, they're still in. The question is, would 2-loss LSU get in? And I don't think they will unless they get some help. So you need SC to lose. You'd love to see Clemson lose. Of course, you'd love to see TCU lose as well. Just have mass chaos, but that's going to be LSU's ticket. They got to win out. They're going to have to get some help as well. So we'll see what the ranking show looks like tonight. All right, it's after further review. Zac Blackerby. We'll go to Auburn next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. That's at Pluckers. You can dine in, carry out, delivery is an option as well. Hey, remember, every Tuesday, 2 things. Number 1, kids eat free. So a lot of you kids are off school for Thanksgiving, right? I mean, they're home all week. They're home all week. All week. So if you need to get out of the house, Pluckers is great because every Tuesday, kids eat free. So adults buy your entrees. The kids eat free at Pluckers every single Tuesday. Both locations, Nicholson and Bluebonnet. Also Tuesday, sports trivia with Hunt Palmer. That's at the Nicholson location only, starting at 8:30. 5 rounds, live action trivia. Remember, every team, and there's no limit on how many players can be on your team, but every team gets to spin the prize wheel. So even if you don't win a round, everybody wins something. It's trivia night tonight and every Tuesday at Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, let's head over to the Plains. Zac Blackerby joins us, host of Locked on Auburn. He's also the publisher over at Auburn Daily and good enough to hang out with us here to talk about silly season, which is officially underway. Zac, thanks, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Goat?
I'm doing well, and thank you very much. Okay, you see the report from the Mississippi television station last night, and your thought is what?
I think it's just the next step in all of this, right? Like the writing's on the wall. I think we're all kind of just waiting for this news to break. There's a chance it broke last night, right? There's a chance that everything he said is true and could happen on Friday. We'll have to wait until Friday to see, but it's weird that it's isolated just to him. Usually when that happens, other people confirm it and it comes out over the next few hours. That didn't happen. I'm still expecting it to, though, Matt, at some point over the next few days.
Not only was it not confirmed, the principal in the matter, Lane Kiffin, actually came out and denied the report. So what was your opinion of Lane's denial?
I think his trolling last night, one, was absolutely hilarious. Right? I think we can all agree that. Very masterfully done. This guy knows what he's doing. Sure, he can design an offense and call plays. His social media game is incredible. That's incredible, which I think Auburn people want him even more now, right? But I don't think it matters, Matt. Like, what else is he supposed to do? It's not in his nature to just ignore it. I think the fact that, he buried the dude and then made the report and kind of changed his name to, him stepping down as lead anchor of his TV station and going to another one. Like, I don't think it means anything one way or the other.
Okay. It's interesting. I guess he didn't have to say anything. Like, he could have completely ignored it, right? No, go ahead, please.
And let's be real. Like, all day yesterday, right? Lane Kiffin had his press conference. Lane Kiffin had multiple chances, even last night when all this stuff was going on. He had three options, Matt. One was, say simply, I'm staying at Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. I plan on being at Ole Miss next year. The other is sign the extension that's been on his desk since this past Thursday. And this is when we knew about it. It's probably been on there longer, right? And then the third option is you just don't address it really at all, and you don't do anything to ensure your fan base at Ole Miss that you're sticking around. And obviously that's the one that he chose, right? And then the reports coming out of Oxford today that he met around noon with his team, and there were some reports coming out saying that he told the team he was staying. The more people I talk to, the more it sounds like he just told them, hey, I haven't signed a deal yet, which Auburn has not offered an official deal as of this point to anyone's knowledge. So, once again, like, how much does that really mean?
Zach, are we certain, and this may be a better question for someone at Ole Miss, but are we certain that Ole Miss has, in fact, offered a contract extension to Lane Kiffin?
We're going off the reporting of the radio guy in Oxford. He's their sideline reporter, Richard Cross, I believe is his name. So, we're kind of running with that. Other folks that cover Ole Miss have referred to it. So I'm assuming it's true. He seems extremely credible, and nobody's really questioned it. So do we know that? I'm not sure. But other Ole Miss folks have referred to it. So I'm assuming that's been cross-checked.
Richard's great, and if you don't know him, I'll introduce you next year at Media Days. But he's awesome, great Ole Miss resource.
I've been listening to the show the past few days to kind of get that side of it. He does a great job.
So, what is your impression then? So, you said you've been listening to the Ole Miss side of it. What is your impression of what the Ole Miss people think is happening?
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty split, right? It seems mixed between like, okay, I'm just done with this. He can go, and I think some of that has to do with what Arkansas did to Ole Miss this past weekend. And I still think there's a big chunk of the Ole Miss fan base that's doing the mental gymnastics of, okay, everything he's doing, the Pine Box comments yesterday, which is a reference to Tuberville,
sure.
the what do you want me to do? You want me to give you the whole I'm not going to Alabama speech, which is, a nudge towards Saban. People doing the mental gymnastics of him saying all these things is actually pro him staying in Ole Miss. And I'm like, how in the world could that happen? Then he's asked about the Egg Bowl. And his response is like, yeah, maybe if we win, we can get facilities that don't leak. It's like, how can you listen to everything that's happening and him say everything but, hey, Ole Miss, I'm coming back. Hey, Ole Miss, I'm committed to you, and think that he could potentially want to be there moving forward. So that's a lot of it. When I listen to Ole Miss media this week, a lot of it is trying to do the mental gymnastics of this. And it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Zac Blackerby's with us. He's on Twitter at @ZBlackerby, Locked On Auburn host. Make sure you're locked in to Locked On Auburn.
Love it.
Yeah, there you go. Is there a I said this in our show open today, Zach. I've seen enough of these to know sometimes, it's never really done until the coach is at the podium being introduced. And a lot of times the guy that's being talked about is often a smokescreen for the real candidate. Yeah, is there any lingering piece to think that maybe Lane isn't really the guy, that this conversation is a smokescreen for someone else who might be the guy at Auburn?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we don't really know what John Cohen's going to do in this situation, right? We've seen what he's done at Mississippi State. His biggest hire at Mississippi State was is Leach, and I think when you look at that, he didn't really pop up as a potential name until the very end of it. So sure, absolutely. I do think if that was the intention, though, you probably should have picked somebody other than Lane, because the majority of the fan base is extremely excited. If it's anybody but Lane Kiffin, that's a PR situation that you're going to have to do some messaging to fix.
Is this absolutely John Cohen's hire, or are there other forces at play?
Talking to folks familiar with the situation, I have been told by several different people, and talked to folks that have been told the same from different people, that they don't know each other. This is one man's decision. John Cohen, this is his hire, right? Auburn is unified in this. Auburn is unified behind John Cohen. And a lot of people said it couldn't be done at Auburn, right? That was the national story of, why would you want to be an AD at Auburn? You're not going to have any control. And while all that was happening, I'm like, that's crap. That makes no sense, and that's not where we are here. And so, this is John Cohen's hire for sure.
I think you probably alluded to this, but if it is in fact Lane Kiffin, what would be the response reaction there at Auburn?
I think this is a conference-shifting hire if it is Lane Kiffin. The program changer. It'd be the biggest hire in Auburn sports history. Yes, a lot of people say, wow, Pat Dye, wow, Bruce Pearl. But no, this is a splash, right? This is a splash in Auburn's biggest sport. It's not even close. I mean, you look at the notable coaches in Auburn history. Gus Malzahn has been a head coach for 1 year from Arkansas State. Pat Dye, his previous stops, Eastern Carolina and Wyoming. Tuberville, similar situation, but less successful than what Lane Kiffin's done at Ole Miss. This would be Auburn's biggest hire. And there's always going to be a section of the fan base that's like, oh, the baggage. Oh, stuff that he did at Tennessee. I'm like, that was in 2009. What were you doing 12 years ago? I was in 10th grade, Matt. You're saying people don't change in 12 years? Get over yourself with that. And so, I think as a whole, with the era of the transfer portal and the current state of Auburn's roster, because it's about to change in about 10 days, you're about to see everybody either declare for the draft or run out of eligibility. You need somebody that's able to do this. and you talk about changing a program, Lane Kiffin would do it overnight.
If it's not Lane Kiffin, what's the fallout there?
I think you get some people that still want it to be Carnell Williams. I don't think Carnell Williams is actually an option. I think he's done a great job as interim. You got to be careful talking about that because you don't want to come across as somebody who's anti-caddy because there's no such thing.
Right.
But I think he's done a great job as interim. But he's a running backs coach right now. I don't think he's done anything to prove that he needs to be above that at Auburn. Anyway, if he wants to go somewhere else, I think it makes a ton of sense. But I think he's going to stay. So I think Hugh Freeze is a big option, right? I think Hugh Freeze is probably the fallback plan. Dabo Sweeney's name's popped up. That's kind of fizzled out a little bit, I think. And then Luke Fickell's a name that I keep hearing throughout all of this. Luke Fickell's camp seems very interested. So that's the name where if the total smokescreen is coming out of left field, and you told me it wasn't Lane Kiffin, I throw a Hail Mary and guess Luke Fickell.
Interesting. It's never boring in this league, and certainly when we're talking coaching searches. Zac Blackerby, Locked on Auburn. Make sure you're subscribed up to the pod. He's on Twitter at @ZBlackerby. I'll give him a follow. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time.
Matt, have a great Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you, buddy.
Hey, man, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I should have said that. All the best to you and yours, all right?
Hey, thanks, bud. Bye.
Thanks, man. We'll see you. Zac does a great job. Appreciate the time. You can tell, man, that it certainly feels like Auburn. When I say Auburn, I mean fan base, the collective Auburn community there. Well, they are locked in, man, on Lane Kiffin being the guy. I'll circle back to what I said at the beginning, which is I don't know. I do not have inside info. I'm not making calls to Auburn or around Oxford to see if that's the thing. I'll let it play out and I'll react to it whenever it happens. The very interesting thing, though, is what if it's not? If you get your hopes up and your sights set on it being a certain guy and it's not that guy, you better have the ace in the hole. Look, I mean, a year ago here, we were talking a lot of Lincoln Riley. And it was very clear that Lincoln Riley was willing to leave Oklahoma. He did leave Oklahoma. So all of those conversations were very legitimate. He just did leave Oklahoma for LSU. He had a better offer at Southern Cal and took it. And look, that conversation after Lincoln Riley took that on that Sunday, took that SC job around here was, man, did Woodward aim high, swing, and miss? But he had his ace in the hole. And likely his top target all along in Brian Kelly. And all the conversation around LSU a year ago from Woodward was just, you got to trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. I mean, everybody who went tugging on his suit coat, like, hey, man, what's going on here? He repeatedly, Woodward's plea was, you got to trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. And he delivered Brian Kelly. So John Cohen's never hired at that level before. And if he doesn't land Lane, better have that ace in the hole. It'll be fascinating to see how it all transpires. Okay. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a break. Tiger basketball got a win today. Tell you what happened down in the Cayman Islands. We will go around the SEC as well. And in 30 minutes from right now, I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into whether or not LSU can rebuild DBU. Because unless you are just fooling yourselves, the state of LSU's secondary today is nowhere near reminiscent of what it's been for 20 years as they built the reputation as DBU. So how do they get it back there? I want to talk about that. We'll get to that in about 30 minutes to start hour number 2. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Of course, if you've been in an accident, get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com, or you can always call 888-8888. It's all eights there. 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. But we always love telling you also about all the ways that Gordon gives back to our communities. And every year around the holidays, Gordon gives away 500 bicycles for children in our area around the holidays. It's the Gordon Gives Bike Giveaway for 2022. You can go to getgordon.com. Right there at the homepage, you'll see it. Go to getgordon.com. And you'll see the easy form right there to fill out how you can get a bike for that child, that young person in your life this Christmas season. Go to getgordon.com. Again, it's all over the state, by the way, not just for Baton Rouge. So you can go learn more online at getgordon.com. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
I am Juliet, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
All right, let's say ah.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Tiger basketball advances to the championship of the Caymans Classic. LSU beat Akron today, 73-58 in the winners bracket game. Of course, LSU blasted Illinois State a day ago behind 33 points from KJ Williams. Today, the Tigers, who were trailing at halftime to Akron, had a big second half, a great defensive effort, and LSU wins 73-58. Here was Matt McMahon on the win.
Really excited about the progress of our team. The first half, we held them to 31% from the floor, but we're down 2 because we didn't clean the defensive glass. And then the second half, we held them to 20% from the floor. We gave up 2 2-point field goals in the second half. Just thought our effort was tremendous. And then, guys did a great job at executing down the stretch. 6-7 point game. You want to stretch that out and close the deal, and our guys were able to make the plays to do so.
It's really interesting. It's a very small gym where they're playing there in Caymans. And look, I mean, there's not even like a real TV option here, but Tigers do go and get the win in this ball game. The thing that stands out, and look, I mean, I had it on the radio in my office while I was show prepping for the show. I can't tell you that I was locked into every moment of this game. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that LSU Akron at this point in year one under Matt McMahon is the thing that everyone should be locked in on. But there are things I think that we want to see with this team as they grow and develop here in year one. Number one, first and foremost, you've identified clearly who your best players are, right? KJ Williams is the reigning Ohio Valley Player of the Year, and then you Adam Miller, who is LSU's best scorer. Lefty, strokes a three. If you're watching, there was one on the wing in transition or transition three. LSU's got some clips on their Twitter page if you want to go check it out on their social media. So Miller's been really good. He led LSU in scoring in this game. He's led LSU in scoring in every game except one at this point. So you're identifying who your scorers are and who can do what, which is a big plus for this team at this point in the season in year one. But the other thing that we're also seeing right now is effort, right? And whenever you're not maybe an elite team talent-wise or athletically, and I don't think this LSU team is, I don't think that's insulting or anything. I think you just recognize what you have. You don't have a roster full of dudes that are going to be NBA players or high draft picks. Adam Miller certainly has NBA potential. I think KJ Williams, the more we see him as he develops, might have an NBA skill set. But when you look at defensive statistics and metrics, it's very telling. Akron made 14 field goals in this game. 14. You held them to 25% from the floor. That's phenomenal. And meanwhile, LSU shot 48%. Hat tip to Coach John Brady. He loves the field goal percentage stat. When you win the field goal stat 48% to 25%, you're going to win a lot of games. Tigers assisted on 14 made shots. Akron just 8 in the game. You had double-digit turnovers, which you don't love, and you committed 23 fouls. The only reason Akron scored 58 in this game is because they went to the free throw line and were 22 of 30 from the free throw line. They made more free throws than you attempted in the ball game. So you'd love to clean that up, but at the same time, you out-rebounded them in the ball game. I'm sorry, they out-rebounded you 36-31, but as far as defensive rebounds, you out-rebounded them 23-17. They had 19 offensive rebounds in the game, which certainly tells a story of how it was even a game. But for LSU, when you defend, you rebound, you assist, you're moving the basketball, all those are signs of a good team or of chemistry, which is a good thing to see. So, look, the schedule isn't we've talked about it enough, right, with what it is. The schedule is what it is at this point, and you're stockpiling wins. Tigers are 5-0 now. Playing a bunch of inferior teams. And the grind is going to come through SEC play when you get there, but the hope is throughout this early part of the schedule, you learn a lot about the team, so you're playing your best and continue to accelerate your growth as you get toward conference play. So congrats to the Tigers, 73-58. They win their second game there in the Cayman Classic. They'll play in the championship game tomorrow. All right, we're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Not too late, y'all. It's not too late to schedule that consultation. I just implore you, if you've ever considered LASIK, if you ever considered it, we're moving into the holiday season where people give gifts. Give the gift of sight. Maybe give it to a family member, maybe to yourself. There's just nothing like being able to wake up in the morning and just see. To not have to go shove contact lens in your eyes or to reach for the glasses on your nightstand, to have to squint when you're looking at signs in traffic or the TV, the ticker on the bottom, to just see. It's possible. Had my LASIK with Dr. Blake Williamson 4 years ago, still seeing better than 20/20. It's incredible. So call 924-2020. Go for that consultation, 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
Texas A&M! Jimbo Fisher said he was very optimistic about the availability of running back Devin A-Chain and wideout Evan Stewart for the game against LSU on Saturday. A-Chain's missed the last 2 games with a leg injury. Stewart left the game against Auburn after a hit that was flagged on the field for targeting. I love it. Paulie's got the picture of the Yell leader leaning backwards. No more Aggie logo. It's always the Yell leader from now on. I love it. A-Chain's got nearly 1,000 yards despite missing 2 games. So by far the 2 best players on this Texas A&M offense likely to play against LSU on Saturday.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina has the cavalry coming back as well. Running backs Marshawn Lloyd and Christian Beal-Smith are ready to roll Saturday against Clemson. That according to Shane Beamer when he met with reporters. Lloyd hasn't played since the loss to South Carolina. Beal-Smith has missed 4 games this year, including the last 2. Kind of incredible that they beat Tennessee without their top 2 running backs. Team travels to Clemson on Friday. They'll kick off at 11 a.m. Central from Clemson.
The Auburn Tigers.
Status of 3 Auburn defensive linemen up in the air ahead of this week's Iron Bowl. Jeffrey Mba, Marcus Harris, Marquise Burks, all day today with minor injuries before Auburn leaves and heads to Tuscaloosa. Mba missed last week's game against Western Kentucky with an ankle injury. Harris is a starter along the defensive line, and Burks has been a key part of that rotation. Take a look at the basketball scores from around the league. On Monday, Arkansas out in Maui upended Louisville 80-54. That's 9th-ranked Arkansas to you, Scone. Mississippi State eked past Marquette 58-55 down in the Fort Myers tip-off. And Georgia beat St. Joe's, the Redhawks, in the Sunshine Slam down in Daytona Beach. That was a 66-53 final. As we mentioned, you got games today as well on the hardwood for Southeastern Conference teams. LSU already a winner today. We'll run through Georgia presently in action against UAB down at the Sunshine Slam. About 4 minutes to play in the first half there. Georgia up 35-31. Later today, 13th-ranked Auburn plays Bradley in the Cancun Challenge. Arkansas plays Creighton. That's a top 10 matchup in the Maui Invitational, the winners bracket, as we mentioned. LSU already beating Akron today 73-58. There you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Remember, with offices in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, the North Shore, and Lafayette, they can get to you same day, at worst case, 10 a.m. the next day if you have issues with your office equipment. It's Gulf Coast Office Products, gcopnet.com. All right, we're not going to break, wrap up hour number 1. Pels blasted the Warriors on Christmas yesterday. And Jimbo Fisher met with reporters to preview the LSU Texas A&M game this weekend. We'll let's hear some of what Jimbo had to say, including talking about who the Aggies might get back. He talked about Harold Perkins, who was a one-time Texas A&M commit, and his freshman quarterback, Connor Wegman, also. A lot to hear from Jimbo as he met with the media to preview the LSU game. That's all as we wrap up hour number 1 next on AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all know Thursday is Thanksgiving. And if you are scrambling or you're just dreading cooking, standing over the stove, watching the oven, you want to just sleep in on Thanksgiving until all the family comes over, no worries. Let Rouse's handle Thanksgiving. You can leave the fuss to us at Rouse's. And Rouse's is open on Thanksgiving Day until 2 o'clock. So you can go on Thanksgiving Day to pick up your holiday meals, heat and eat. It's that easy. Rouse's has everything that they can handle for you, from the turkey to the ham to all of the sides. If it's your traditional Thanksgiving sides or some great Cajun South Louisiana sides that we all know and love and enjoy this time of year, Rouse's can handle all of it. So leave the holiday dinner to Rouse's. Just heat and eat. Go to Rouse's.com. You'll see it right there on the homepage. Choose all of your options. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Rouse's. This feels like home.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Pelicans win last night. We'll get to that in a moment. I need you to talk to me. So do I not have clips? Do I not have sound bites? Do I not have anything? Okay. All right. We will punt that for now. No worries. Okay. It's okay. Deep breath. We're good. We're good. Little issue with the automation system. No worries. We'll get back to it here in a second. Pels did get a win last night, and it was look, they blew out last night the Golden State Warriors, who chose to sit everybody. Steph, Clay, Draymond. So you beat a depleted Warriors team by 45. I won't make any apologies for Golden State. Don't care. It was their decision. You want to rest all your players and just take the L, fine. BI had 34 points. It was nice to see Zion back as well. And I will point again, I'll point out again that a year ago when we were looking at the NBA standings, and this is why, I get you're talking about 82. Over the course of 82 games, you would think it's a large enough sample to where one game wouldn't necessarily matter. And it might not as for this team as far as making the postseason or not making the postseason. So I'm not trying to make this too big of a deal because Golden State is going to be there at the end. Golden State is playing for the biggest prize, or the reigning NBA champion, and we understand what they are and what they're going to be when healthy and right toward the end of the year. New Orleans, however, last year had to fight and claw and scratch to get into the play-in, and we know they beat the Clippers and played themselves into the tournament and went to 6 games with the top seeded Phoenix Suns. So here's the point, though, about a game that matters. The difference between Golden State and Dallas last year, the 3 and the 4 seed, was 1 game. The difference between the Jazz and the Nuggets last year, the 5 and the 6 seed, was 1 game. The Nuggets, who were the 6 seed and avoided the play-in tournament, had 48 wins. Minnesota, which was one game out of the play-in, was into the play-in, was the 7th seed, so they had to go through the play-in. Minnesota finished 2 games on the season behind the Denver Nuggets. You had the Phoenix Suns, which kind of ran away from everybody with 64 wins a year ago, and then you had this log jam in the West of like 2 through 8 where everybody was really close. And in some instances, you're talking about the difference between being in the play, having to go through the play-in, or being into the tournament. In some instances, it's, are you hosting an opening round game, or are you traveling if you're 4 or 5? So, yes, a game matters when you're talking about a team that has playoff ambition and aspiration. So, listen, there's going to be games throughout the year where the Pelicans hit a buzzer beater and win it. There's going to be games this year where they fall on a buzzer beater. And over the course of 82, those things tend to average out. But anytime a team is going to essentially just concede a game to you, you take it willingly and gratefully. So the Pelicans get the win last night. They blow out Golden State, who is, sans all of their stars, but you get a 45-point win. It was nice to see Zion back out there. And because this was a complete rocking chair win for the New Orleans Pelicans, you were able to play a lot of guys. So even in the win, you were still able to, I don't want to say rest guys, but Zion didn't even play 30 minutes in the ball game last night. Whenever you had that luxury of having a win like the Pelicans did, you didn't have to worry about any type of a challenge, and you were able to get a lot of guys minutes in that ball game. So Pelicans win. It was nice to see. Normally we do our Christmas bit, but we're having issues with all the automation stuff, so we're going to pass on that for right now. Maybe we'll circle back to it at some point during the show. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. As always, brought to you by Schutz Electric, CESofLA.com. Cold weather season, y'all. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods for power outages. We learned that a couple of years ago with the great freeze during the winter a couple of years ago. A lot of people lost power. We did at that time as well. We'll never have to worry about it again, thanks to our home standby generator from Schutz Electric. Listen, there's a lot of companies that say they can come install a generator. But at Schutz Electric, they have an entire generator division. And it's all people do. It's not people who do that on the side. It's a service that they also offer. It is their job. So they are experts at installing these generators from Schutz Electric. So you get a great install, and they handle everything from that initial phone call to working with the power company and getting permits from the city. My experience with Schutz was fantastic. Erica pushed and pushed and pushed for years for us to get a home standby generator, and we finally pulled the trigger this last summer. And the folks at Schutz Electric were magnificent. CESofLA.com. They have inventory in stock. It's not one of those things where you call and you got to wait 6 months to get the generator. They have generators in stock. So in a matter of weeks, you could have your home standby generator installed from Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com. That's CESofLA.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Coming up after the top of the hour, I want to delve into this a little bit. I want to kind of do a little bit of a deep dive. LSU landed a cornerback commit for the class of 2024 over the weekend, so it kind of got me thinking about Brian Kelly and his need to rebuild that cornerback room ground up, and if he can get back to the point of where making it DBU again, which has been a cornerstone of LSU's great run over the past 2 decades. And just this year, it's very obvious you are not that. You do not have the level of talent you have had at that position and in that group over the past 2 decades. So how do they get back to that? I want to go deep dive into that coming up here in just a couple of minutes after the top of the hour. Good? Okay. Before we hit the top of the hour, I do want to play this. Jimbo Fisher met with the media in College Station. Can you play number 3, please? He talked about Harold Perkins, who was a Texas A&M commit. It was a hotly contested recruiting battle between LSU and Texas A&M that ultimately Texas A&M won, or that LSU won.
One, Harold's very gifted. I mean, we knew that. I mean, I watched him as great as he's playing on defense. You watched him in high school. You could argue he was as great an offensive player as he was a defensive player. I think he averaged, 10 yards a carry? Wasn't it something like that he averaged per carry in high school? Was really athletic, ball-skilled, really good basketball player. You can just see a natural athlete. He's great in space, rushing, playing, physical. I mean, and he's a very intelligent young man. We knew going in he was a very, very highly recruited guy that we tried to recruit. We were in on for a long time. And, just one of the ones that got away. But he's a very good player.
And he has been a game changer for LSU. So obviously Texas A&M has been atrocious offensively. They're averaging 21 points a game. And they're allowing 21 points a game. that's not a great recipe for success. So offensively, Texas A&M is going to have to find a way to move the ball. They are going to get, very likely, A-Chain and Evan Stewart back this week against LSU. So getting those two weapons back helps, undeniably helps. But, man, you're going to be starting a freshman quarterback. You're talking about an offensive line that has been bruised and battered and broken all year. It is hard to imagine A&M just consistently generating offense against LSU. They're going to need LSU to give them a lot of help with turnovers and such if the Aggies are going to have a chance to win this game on Saturday. All right, it's after further review. SportsCenter's coming up. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. Hour 2 is next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com. I want to remind you that as the holidays are approaching and we're getting toward the new year, it's almost New Year's resolution time, but you can get a jump start on that New Year's resolution if it's to get in shape, to lose weight, to look and feel your best. Hormone replacement therapy could be the option for you. The Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana are a nation's leader. They were voted the nation's #1 aesthetic practice in the country back in Las Vegas at the National Aesthetic Show. And they're right here in Baton Rouge. So schedule that consultation. Go have that blood draw, run your labs, and let them tell you if hormone replacement therapy could help you feel like your younger self again. You can learn more online at theantiagingclinics.com. That's theantiagingclinics.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Disgraced Plaquemine Police Chief Kenny Payne bonded out of jail on 5 felony charges today. It follows a grand jury indictment where he's accused of soliciting sexual favors to have charges dropped. Hear what he had to say to our cameras. I'm Chris Nakamoto. Catch those stories and more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Ben Simmons says he knows what's awaiting him tonight and is ready for the hostile environment in Philadelphia. For the first time since February's blockbuster trade and that bitter split that sent him to Brooklyn, Simmons will play against the 76ers in Philly. In the Nets' previous game at Philadelphia, Simmons watched from the bench, sidelined by a back issue, and believes that's what's prepared him for tonight, explains ESPN's Nick Friedel.
And I think a huge part of this is that while he wasn't playing last year in March, he went through what it's going to sound like in here tonight. People were chanting at him. They were screaming at him. He went through all of that emotion, and that muscle memory is really going to help him once he gets back out on the floor. But he's had this game circled for a long time.
The Lakers have ruled out LeBron James again tonight against the Suns because of a groin strain. Manchester United confirmed Cristiano Ronaldo and the club mutually agreed to part ways effective immediately. ESPN reported last week Man U was seeking to terminate Ronaldo's contract following his criticism of the club and manager in a recent interview. Baseball, the Phillies extended GM Dave Dombrowski's contract through 2027.
Coming up on Wednesday, we will have a full breakdown of the latest college football playoff ranking. And Pro Football Hall of Famer Ronnie Lott joins us to talk Trojan football. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, Wednesday morning at 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk to Lee in about 15 minutes. Talk some LSU hoops with Lee Feinswog, longtime LSU basketball beat writer, and beer. I mean, you kidding me? Thanksgiving's on Thursday. Fired up about that. We'll definitely talk some Thanksgiving holiday beer with Lee. Looking forward to that. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. Over the weekend, LSU added to its 2024 class, if you missed it. Got a commitment from Wallace Foster IV. He's a cornerback out of Warren Easton in New Orleans, 5'10", 165-pounder. Even though he's only a high school junior, he has had a lot of interest. LSU, Florida, Florida State, Texas, Arkansas, Miami, Texas A&M. So some really big-time prospects. And again, this is a kid out of New Orleans. And for a lot of reasons, this is really relevant, right? This isn't anything new. We've talked about it a ton. If you're going to be successful at LSU, you've got to be able to recruit New Orleans. You have to have staff members that are intimately connected to that city. And in Wallace Foster's recruitment, the New Orleans guys played a big role. Frank Wilson, Sherman Wilson, Carter Sheridan, Cortez Hankton, all played major roles in getting Foster to pick LSU over that slew of other schools, including SEC schools like Florida, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and it's no small feat as well when you talk about Florida, because remember, that's Corey Raymond over there at Florida. So when you're recruiting DBs and your hat is in the ring against Florida, you are recruiting against the guy who was really the founder, the godfather of DBU. And I understand, look, every time I say that, I get pushback. Well, DBU was before Corey Raymond got there. Listen, LSU had great defensive backs. I'm not denying that. You could look at guys like Corey Webster and Travis Daniels, and yes, LSU had LaRon Landry had really good defensive backs. It is also undeniable that LSU solidified its status as DBU under Corey Raymond. For a decade, that dude recruited and cultivated the best culture of defensive backs in college football. I mean, you all know the list. I don't have to run through the names. But Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Morris Claiborne won the Thorpe Award as well. Tre'Davious White, Eric Reed, Dante Jackson, Jalen Collins, Jalen Mills, Greedy Williams, who went from a guy who redshirted to you have one dude suspended, another dude injured, and boom, all of a sudden he's an All-American as well. Guys like Ron Brooks, Rashard Robinson, putting Mike Evans in a chokehold, even though he weighed 160 pounds. You want to go back, you can talk about guys like Chad Jones or Thorold Simon or Kevin Tolliver, who was a 5-star. You all know the list. That's not even including recent guys like Christian Fulton and Derek Stingley and Elias Ricks and Dwight McGlothern. Y'all, we all know the list. It's been incredible. And this year, it don't look like that. I'm not sitting here telling you that LSU's defense has been bad or the secondary has been bad, but the secondary has not been this year what it has been in the past. And my most basic metric that I would use or measuring stick would be, for 20 years, it didn't matter who LSU was playing. They could always say, I like my guy on an island better than your guy, and I don't care who your guy is. Oh, your guy's Devontae Smith? Cool. I like Derek Stingley. Oh, your guy's Julio Jones? Okay. I like Patrick Peterson. Oh, your guy's Mike Evans? No sweat. Freshman Rashard Robinson. Get out there on an island and lock down that freak show. Done. That's just what it's been at LSU for 20 years. You never had to worry about your cornerbacks existing on an island. This year you do. Because of what happened at the end of Ogeron's tenure, right? Losing Ricks and McGlothern to the portal. Clearly missing on some guys like Demarius McGee, Radarius Jones. Having to go into the portal, it's gutted your base. There isn't the next great crop ready to go. It's not the 5-star sitting on the bench waiting to take the other 5-star's job anymore. When you look at LSU's secondary, I mean, you are looking at Jark Bernard-Converse, Mekhi Gardner, Colby Richardson. 3 transfers. One from a Big 12 school, one from ULL, one from McNeese. Do you realize LSU, DBU, started this season with a McNeese State transfer starting at cornerback? And ultimately, he got beaten out by a ULL transfer at cornerback. This is DBU. This is where you grow 5-stars on trees in the secondary. And this is a whole bunch of transfers. And then after them, we haven't seen Radarius Jones or Demarius McGee all year. So that means LaTerrence Welsh and Jordan Allen, 2 freshmen, are the ones behind these guys. You've got no depth at all. And your frontline starters have played admirably, but I mean, none of these guys are going in the first round of the draft. So the question is, can and or how can LSU start to rebuild that reputation as DBU? Well, a big part of it is going to be the guys you signed last year have got to grow up. LaTerrence Welch, Jordan Allen, they got to grow up and be players. And we've seen young guys do it before at LSU. Those guys are going to have to be players. Now, we'll see what happens with Radarius Jones and Demarius McGee and with their careers, and if they stay at LSU, if they're enrolled next year, if they're on the team, we'll see. But next year, you are going to have to hit the transfer portal again because you got those 2 guys I just mentioned. I mean, you're losing Jark Bernard-Converse, Mekhi Gardner, Colby Richardson. They are all out of eligibility. You're losing your top 3. And the next 2 are freshmen this year that are redshirting. And LaTerrence Welsh and Jordan Allen. So all you got coming back is those 2 freshmen who are redshirting, the 2 guys who are holdovers who may not even be on the team, we'll see, and then you've got a group of freshmen coming in, and Dalen Austin, Jeremiah Hughes, and Ashton Stamps. So you will have nobody with any material experience at all at cornerback next year. So you're going to have to go to the portal again. And Brian Kelly was asked about the transfer portal on Monday.
Well, it's kind of what I've alluded to. I think anytime that you go in and take transfers that have been in other programs, you got to make sure they're not carrying a lot of baggage. And you got to make sure that they understand the standards within your program, what your expectations are, clearly, that there's no promises other than the things that you want accomplished within your program. And it's just clearly communicated as to, what the things that you're looking for in making this transfer. As you know, a lot of them were from the state of Louisiana. And so, if we can continue down that road where there is a connection to LSU in the state, we want that as well.
It mattered a lot. And I'm talking just corner, but you could look at Brooks and Fouché as well. Jark Bernard Converse became your best cornerback this year. So, yeah, you had guys with ties to the state. And maybe there's more in what will come in this crop, right? The transfer portal window opens on December the 5th, so coming up after the SEC championship game. And LSU is going to have to go mine that portal again for cornerbacks because you don't have any. You have got to get guys who have played major college football that can help you continue to rebuild that DBU culture. But really what you need is to have the young guys this year in that freshman class play and develop next year because 2024 is the point where you will have had 3 years worth of signing classes under Brian Kelly. You'd have LaTerrence Welsh, Jordan Allen, this coming class of 2023 with Dalen Austin, Jeremiah Hughes, Ashton Stamps, and then whoever is part of the 2024 class along with Wallace Foster. Now you would have had 3 classes of high school recruits coming in at that position. And if you're hitting on those recruits again, then you can start to rebuild the core of what has made DBU great. But realistically, you ain't going to do it again until 2024 at the earliest. And the only way you do it is if you are doing a really good job of identifying and hitting on talent with these commits, because it is not sustainable to every year have to rebuild an entire position group through the transfer portal. That's what LSU had to do this year. Jark Bernard Converse, Mekhi Gardner, Colby Richardson, Joe Fouché, Greg Brooks, like your whole secondary is transfers. That's not sustainable because inevitably you're going to miss on some of those guys. Some of them aren't going to be good players when you bring them in, or you're an injury away from having to go to a freshman and not be any good. But it has got to be a focus. I think you got the right guys in there to do it and the right connections as well in the state. But part of that is going to be making sure that if the state is producing great talent at that position, you're getting them to LSU and keeping them and developing them. So it's an uphill climb at that position, and it's unsettling. It's unsettling to know that when Tennessee rolled in here with Jalen Hyatt and Brew McCoy, and they didn't even have Cedric Tillman, but to know how much of a mismatch that was with their receivers against your DBs. There weren't many other games like that this year where it was that one-sided. But in this league, there's always that threat. The LSU's got to get it fixed. Wallace Foster, class of 2024, could be a step in that direction. All right, man, I'm telling you, cornerback is one position they got to address. Absolutely. I'll tell you, I believe they're going to get an edge player on the defensive side as well. You're losing Ali Gay. You're going to lose B.J. Ojulari. You love Savion Jones and his potential, but they're going to need to go get an edge player. And I think they're going to go get veteran offensive linemen as well. You're thrilled your first 6 are coming back, but think about that long list of veteran offensive linemen who got beaten out this year by a couple of true freshmen and a transfer in Miles Frazier. That long list of guys whose names we've been saying for years, I would fully expect you're going to see those guys leaving the portal, and you're going to have to. LSU's going to have to go address offensive line with some veteran players through the transfer portal as well. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Knock out a quick break. Talk some LSU hoops and beer with Lee Feinswog next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. It's Baton Rouge General Hospital. Festive time around the General. The holiday lights at the Baton Rouge General going on right now. Super festive. You can get all the info at brgeneral.org. You can go walk through the campus with all their awesome holiday lights. They got the music time, dancing lights on the trees. It started November the 19th, runs all the way through New Year's Eve. So you can learn more about parking, about tickets, and all that good stuff at brgeneral.org. brgeneral.org. Again, that's at the Bluebonnet campus, Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org. Trust me, you cannot miss the holiday lights display when you were going down Picardy off of Bluebonnet there at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Remember, not only are they great community partners there, they are closed, by the way, on you can check out the Thanksgiving closures at the website at brgeneral.org. Expanding healthcare in the greater Baton Rouge area. Online at brgeneral.org.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
As a community bank, B1 Bank invests in relationships with the people and businesses we proudly represent. Our B1 bankers are here to help simplify the complicated, understand your needs, and make managing your finances easier. At B1 Bank, we offer an array of solutions to help simplify your transaction needs. B1 Bank, one highly personal banking experience. Visit us online at b1bank.com for more information.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Been a minute. How are you, Lee?
It's always that way, isn't it? But, man, it gives
me,
a lot of time in between so I can sample lots of beers. And do I have a good one for you today?
Well, someone's got to do the heavy lifting, so we appreciate you for doing all that reconnaissance for us here. Have you been watching this LSU men's basketball team at all?
I have not.
Awesome.
I've just read the stories. I know you told me we were going to talk some hoops. I mean, I know they're 5-0.
We're going to talk hoops.
Well, what was I going to do? Watch matches, games that were already over, but they're down in the Cayman Islands, and it's those preseason trips are rough, and
why are they rough?
No, I'm joking. You're in a resort place. I mean, one can only imagine what John Gray Gymnasium looks like. Were these games even on TV?
They were available on some off stream thing, but LSU's Twitter has been posting videos of the Cayman Classic, so I've been able to see some of the highlights. I mean, it looks like a high school gym, and probably a few hundred seats.
I went to the Maui Classic. The only time I ever went was 1996 when it was still like a high school gym. that whole tournament's blown up so much then. But those preseason tournaments are nice. They're great for the kids. For a first-year coach and a relatively new team with all new people, it's probably great bonding time because you're isolated. You can go to the gym for the games, and then you hang around the pool. And if you're a coach, if you're smart, you go, "Excuse me, ma'am, shouldn't this drink have an umbrella in it?" But they're good. Their schedule is. I haven't seen them. Okay, so it's not fair for me to say what I'm about to say, which is you're really not going to know much about them until they start the conference December 28th against Arkansas. The Wake Forest game, maybe I'll tell you something. There's not a lot of basketball powerhouses on this schedule.
And I think that was
the pre-conference.
That was probably intentional, right, by Matt McMahon, knowing that his team was going to be severely deficient. So he loaded up with a bunch of really winnable games, which is probably a smart thing.
Oh, no doubt. And I will watch them at some point. Some Tuesday this basketball season, I'll be able to say to you, Matt, I've watched them, and I can tell you this.
Well, you sound
Pretty
like
pitiful, huh?
you sound like a robot right now. I literally can't hear anything you're saying. So would you please hang up and call him back, please, because he sounds like a robot. We're gonna call you right back. All right, we'll call Lee back. Off to a rip-roaring start. Let me just take this quick opportunity to remind you about DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NBA. DraftKings, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. You want to bet on college basketball or LSU down there in the Cayman Classic? You want to bet on college football? You can do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Full slate of NBA games, NFL as we move toward the Thanksgiving holiday. Of course, got a great slate, 3 games on Thanksgiving. You always get the Lions, the Cowboys, and a really good primetime game as well. You can bet on all of it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. We always encourage you, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. That's how you unlock a lot of their great promotions. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, official sports betting partner of the NBA, where a $5 money line bet with the promo code Baton Rouge for new customers can win you up to $200 in free bets if you hit. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus issued as free bets. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Parlay and wagering restrictions apply. Eligibility and terms at DraftKings.com/football terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem. Call 1-877-7-0-STOP. All right, we got Lee back. So sorry, you were sounding like a robot there. You said at some point you watched the team. So I do always ask you, because you say after you watch the team, you can predict how many wins that they'll have. Do you want to give, before you fully see them, would you like to give an estimation as of now or an early opinion?
No, because then you'll come back to haunt me like you've been doing with football, because I know you're going to get on there.
You are the one who did predict this football team to go 5-7. You were only bested or worst by Russ Mitchell, who predicted them 4-8. But I was going to get there at some point. But I won't hold you to it, because I'll say, hey, just as a basis to say, all right, whenever that you do see them play, I'm curious if you recalibrate at all.
Well, the interesting thing is that for a first-year program where he had to rebuild the entire roster, got in a lot of transfers and used the portal well, and by all accounts, seems like it should be a decent enough team. I mean, right off the start, they're hitting from three-point range. And again, I'm just looking at stats, though, because I haven't seen them play. But they're hitting three-point shots. Their assist-to-turnover ratio is the same. They're even up. They're scoring points. And, the common logic would say, well, it's a middle-of-the-pack SEC team. 500, maybe a little over 500 in the league. I don't know. Is that, so if you want to use that as a barometer after we talk the next time, that'd be fine.
So I do agree with you. Like, I think for this team, I think they're going to stockpile wins here in the pre-conference. And I think if they manage to get to 500 in league play, if they go 9-9 in league play, I think that would be a fantastic year one for Matt McMahon, especially considering there was a point where he had no scholarship players.
Literally and that could get you, that'll probably get you a bid.
I don't think so.
Well, they're going to have no strength of schedule, but they are 5-0 with a lot of if you look at the schedule and say, okay, they could beat everybody except for Wake Forest in the preseason.
Yeah, and they probably will. But even if you go 9-9 in the league, I think that'll land them somewhere around 18 wins. That's not, with this strength of schedule, that's not going to be enough to get them in the tournament. I think they could be an NIT team, and I think that you go to the NIT, you manage to win a game or two there. I think it's a great start considering where they were.
I would agree with you totally. But you go. Let's just say arbitrarily they go unbeaten. Say you sneak into Wake Forest, and then somehow get to 9 or 10, and a couple of those, let's say, are against some of the better teams. Yeah, you got that outside shot. It becomes such an unexact science. The SEC has gotten a lot of street cred from the committee, the last few years because of whether reality or perceived, right? So don't rule it out.
No, I mean the league had made a very conscious decision to upgrade their basketball, their whole basketball product. I mean, it's just they were just very intentional when they only got 3 bids a few years back. They're like, this is ridiculous. Like, with all the resources, we could do better, and they've committed, and schools have hired better coaches and invested more in basketball, and you're seeing the results of it. Lee Feinswog is with us. We're going to get to beer in a second. So the contrast to that, though, is what Brian Kelly's done, which year one has been magnificent. And yes, I am making fun of you for picking them 5-7, which was which was ridiculous. But so clearly they've exceeded any expectation you had. But is there a thing that that maybe you look at that is maybe most impressive, or the thing that you least expected that's led to their success?
Yeah, like a lot of wins.
I know. Well, what I'm asking you, is what led to those wins.
Well, obviously, a quarterback who became spectacular, who I had no idea was going to be even very good. That's one, and then a couple of wins early where you just they seem to be so incredibly resilient, falling behind in so many games and still winning. So mental toughness and a quarterback who's just been absolutely spectacular. I think those two things more than anything.
Yeah,
but I have a question.
Maybe that's
for you.
Maybe that's the difference, though. Is like I talked about Jaden Daniels for months, and I got. There's a lot of people now who are awful quiet. Nobody's ever going to circle back and give me a pat on the back, and I don't really need it. But I was the only guy for months yelling, Jaden Daniels is going to be the starting quarterback, and he's a really good player.
No, you did, but did you think he was going to be this good?
Yes.
Really? Wow. Because
yes,
this is off the charts good.
No, but he's had struggles this year as well. But it was the thing that I said any LSU fans could focus on was last year at Arizona State, 10 interceptions, 10 touchdowns. That's all I heard. That was it. 10 and 10. That's all I heard. And I said, you didn't watch the kid play for 3 years, and you had no idea what a dumpster fire Arizona State was. He was awesome as a freshman. They played 4 games in 2020 because of COVID. And then last year they were a dumpster fire where you had coaches giving out game plans to other coaches and Herm getting fired and all these allegations going on, which ultimately is going to land them in an awful lot of trouble with the NCAA, which is why the kid hit the eject button. I don't blame him. But, yeah, I knew he was a great player. We talked about it. I watched him play a ton at Arizona State.
All right.
Anyway.
I mean, you did say. I just didn't think you thought he would be this good. So here's my question. And when I think about
I literally said before the year he would lead the team in rushing.
Okay. Well, it's a good thing for them that he did, and it's a good thing for them that he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
So I have this. I've always leaned against first-year coaches being coaches of the year in their conference or on a national level or whatever. But what Brian Kelly and his staff have done this year, again with a retooled roster and lineup, is unbelievable. Lincoln Riley at USC. What they've done is he's a first-year coach. They're 9-1 and 7, and 7th in the college football playoff, right behind LSU. Should those two guys be the front runners for National Coach of the Year?
Yeah. I mean, I would throw Josh Heupel from Tennessee in there, and I think Lance Leipold from Kansas has to be there. And then I don't know how we could have the conversation without Sonny Dykes, who's got. I mean, TCU was a 5-win team a year ago that fired Gary Patterson mid-season. He takes over. He's got him a win away from being undefeated.
Who's an interesting team too is Utah. Utah comes in at 10 at 8-2. Kyle Whittingham every year has the Utes are very respectable.
Yeah,
great program for all the time that he's been there. And I think it's really intriguing that LSU was 1 point away, right, from being 10-1 from that Florida State game, and USC is 1 point away. Losing to Utah 43-42.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if those two had won those 2 games? And what would it look like right now if LSU was 9-1 and Southern Cal was 10-0?
I think you would have. I think Southern Cal would be 4th and LSU would be 5th right now, because you'd have four undefeated teams.
It's just it just shows you how fine the line is, right? Did you? I mean, I never could have imagined. Like I said, because I picked them, I didn't think they were going to be any good, and then losing that Florida State game was unlucky, and then to have done what they've done, the mental resiliency and concentration and ability to persevere from being down is the strongest part. To your question before, and for that reason, you can't applaud the coaching staff enough. A lot of times you go, "Oh yeah, they coach great. They had great chemistry, all that stuff." Blah blah blah. No, this team has really proven it, and the mental part of it is often coaching.
Who do you think should win Coach of the Year?
I mean, like I said, in a normal year, I don't like first-year coaches, but I think what Brian Kelly and his staff have done is unparalleled.
I think so.
Well, because usually you just get that first-year buzz, and coaching of the Coach of the Year sometimes ought to be, I don't know, a cumulative thing in my mind. But it's the old argument about an MVP
player. But it's not coach resume. It's Coach of the Year, and a lot of times a first-year coach. Yeah. A lot of times a first-year coach is taking over for someone who got fired because it was an awful situation. So most first-year coaches are taking over bad situations.
Well, with all that being said, from my original argument, is what he and Lincoln Riley have done at USC are both, Coach of the Year worthy. Who would you vote for? And your Sonny Dykes point is very well taken as well.
It's incomplete at this point, but Sonny Dykes.
True.
He would get my vote. And it's not to say that everyone else hasn't done a fantastic job, but that's really hard to ignore. If they beat Iowa State and go 12-0, that is a stunning about face. And the thing about Lincoln Riley, and not to downplay it in any way, but I mean, he got a transcendent quarterback to go with him in Caleb Williams, and he's in a terrible league. So I'm not trying to say that that's not impressive. It is, but if we're trying to split hairs, that's one way I would split hairs with Lincoln Riley. So, but he certainly proves coaching matters. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, all three of those guys we mentioned are certainly have had years that they should be extremely proud of.
And at some point when the season's over, they'll all sit back, kick their feet up, and have a nice cold beer.
What is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. I could really use a beer. Beer.
All right, take it away.
All right, you never even mentioned Sports 225. It's a TV show. Watch it on your view, Cox 4.
I figured you were in best of.
No, of course I am. It's Thanksgiving week. Matt, every once in a while you wait, especially Thanksgiving when you got early football games.
Yeah.
And you might want to start drinking a beer early. Great Raft, Creature of Habit. It's a Imperial coffee brown ale, and it tastes absolutely wonderful. It comes in a 16-ounce can. It's the American Imperial Brown Ale brewed with locally roasted whole bean coffee from Rhino Coffee. Creature of Habit has an earthy, rich flavor that is perfect for fireside sipping. And I think you could drink it in the morning if you were going to have one of those days where it was an all-day beer drinking. And, Matt, it's 8%, and it's smooth, it's tasty, it's absolutely wonderful. It's, I like some of the beers, and I'll go, these are really good, and I was Oktoberfest geeking out, and I've had a few others that are good. Oh, this one, if you like the taste of coffee and you like the taste of beer, thank me later.
Okay, wait, I have a question, though, and this is a serious question. Does it have caffeine in it?
Ooh, I would assume so if it has coffee in it, because it's with locally roasted whole bean coffee. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know.
You should check.
You're mixing your drugs.
You should check. Well, you should check and be accurate, because I learned that lesson the hard way with one of the beers from Faubourg when they had the Beignet Olé, which is a delicious beer, but it's got caffeine in it. So if you try to drink 4, brother, don't drink 4 and think you're going to sleep that night, because it's got caffeine in it.
Well, you just stole my beer for next week. I may have to, get a new one.
Were you really going to do that next week?
I really was. It's sitting here. It's one of the few cans that are sitting on in order. It's on there. We'll do 2 for 1 next week.
It's magnificent. Beignet Ole it's really a magnificent beer, but it has caffeine in it. So
oh my gosh,
tread carefully. Okay. Thank you, Lee.
This was fabulous, Matt.
All
Good
right.
to talk to you again.
You as well.
Bye.
That's Lee Feinswog. This is AFR. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. And we always tell you great 5-star reviews like this one from Michelle Rhodes just 2 days ago. River City's 1 Hour Air has been my AC and heating company for many years. I trust them. They are always professional and on time. Excellent service. Kevin is professional, courteous, and informative. He went above and beyond. We'll ask for him next time. Another 5-star review for River City's 1 Hour Air. As a matter of fact, I was driving around LSU's campus today. I had to pull in to get gasoline, and parked right next to me was a big yellow van from River City's 1 Hour Air. You see them all over town because so many of your friends and neighbors do what I do. They trust River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001. If you're having issues with your heater or you need that preseason heater safety check, mention the Moscona special. They'll save $30 off any system repair. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We're We're going to move quickly here. Still got to get the Tigers and the Pros. Sean Salisbury in about 20 minutes from right now. Dennis Allen did meet with reporters. If you didn't watch Monday Night Football last night, the San Francisco 49ers put an absolute hurting on the Cardinals, who, granted, were without Kyler Murray, but my goodness, that was a whitewashing in primetime down at Azteca. But now the Saints reward as they draw the 49ers in Santa Clara. And listen, there's situationally, you could say, well, look, I mean, the Niners, it's a short weekend. They had to travel, right? They were playing in Mexico on Monday, and now they got to play. They're at home, but they were in Mexico playing on Monday and had to get back home, and now it's a short week getting ready for New Orleans. New Orleans, meanwhile, has to travel to Santa Clara, go over 2 time zones. But hopefully the Saints are going to get some injured players back. And on Monday, can you play number 6, please? Dennis Allen sounded a little optimistic.
Well, look, I'm not going to get into exactly everybody that could be back, but I am hopeful that there's a significant number of guys that, have been out that may be available to us this week.
One guy who has played is Paulson Adebo, who, if you remember back in training camp, was the MVP of training camp. I mean, he was all anybody talked about in training camp was how he was looking for a boom of a sophomore campaign, and we know what happened. Had the knee injury and then just has struggled to get back on the field and hasn't been close to 100%. But it sounded from Dennis Allen on Monday like maybe they're getting close there.
I think he's, kind of coming back a little bit more towards what we saw in training camp. I mean, look, he's one of the guys that really has kind of battled through this thing. Really even when he came back in London, he certainly wasn't 100% at that point in time, but he came back and battled through, and I think each week you kind of see him getting back into the groove a little bit.
It would be great to see the Saints defense get some guys back and play better. They're 25th in the NFL in points allowed. It's just for a team that had been built upon a dominant defense, a top 5 defense, to year go from the 4th best defense in the NFL to 25th in scoring. I can tolerate the Saints offensively being middle of the pack. If you're 15th in the NFL in points per game, you can win with that if you're not turning the football over and you have a great defense. The problem is they're the worst team in the NFL in turnover ratio, and they're 25th out of 32 in scoring. So the offense is okay, but your defense isn't elite, and you turn the ball over, so you're not playing complementary football. It would go such a long way if your defense could ascend to the level we all thought they would be at the start of the season because of how well they played a year ago, and then you added some great pieces. You added, I understand you lost your safeties, but you added Tyron and Marcus May. You draft Alontae Taylor, who that might be the bright spot, is with the injuries at corner. It's forced Alontae Taylor onto the field, and he's got that dog in him, man. He is fun to watch, and you could get excited about a young player like Alontae Taylor moving forward, but they're going to need it. They're certainly going to need it this week against the Niners, who look like they're hitting their stride right now. All right, it's after further review. I got some news on the Pro Football Hall of Fame involving Jari Evans I want to get to in just a quick second. Let me remind you about GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. They do it all at GMFS Mortgage. Online, GMFSmortgage.com. That's GMFSmortgage.com. Get in touch with a local home officer. It's not too late, y'all. If you want to get into that new home for the new year, you can get pre-qualified today. Call a GMFS Mortgage local loan officer. Get pre-qualified. They'll let you know how much you can afford to buy, how much home you can afford to buy. Don't go start looking for homes until you know how much you can shop for. You got to start with that call to a local loan officer at GMFS Mortgage. Online at GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. Jari Evans is one of 5 first-year eligible players for the Pro Football Hall of Fame to be named semifinalists in their first year. So Darrelle Revis, Jari Evans, Joe Thomas, the great offensive tackle from Cleveland, Dwight Freeney, and James Harrison, all in their first year of eligibility. Their last season was the 2017 season. and all are semifinalists now. So 28 semifinalists. That list will be narrowed down to 15 finalists before the voting process in January. And then the inductees or the electees will be announced on February the 9th during the NFL honors. It's also worth noting that on top of those 5 first-year eligible semifinalists, you've got guys like Henry Ellard, London Fletcher. They're semifinalists for the first time. Torrey Holt is a semifinalist for the 9th time. Hines Ward, Darren Woodson, semifinalist for the 7th time. Rondé Barber, this is his 6th time as a semifinalist. Zach Thomas, a 5th-year semifinalist. James Willis, Reggie Wayne, 4th-year semifinalist. And the thing is, you look at some of these guys, and I could go on. Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Anquan Bolden, Rodney Harrison, Devin Hester, Andre Johnson is going to be a Hall of Famer, of course. Robert Mathis, Steve Smith Sr., Fred Taylor, DeMarcus Ware, Ricky Waters, Vince Wilfork. I mean, you got guys that are no doubt getting into the Hall of Fame. The issue is, and I hate this about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because they cap the number that get in each year, and it's created this awful backlog where guys that are undeniable Hall of Famers are just going to have to wait. The fact that Torrey Holt has been waiting 9 years to get into the Hall of Fame is absurd. Alan Faneca, y'all. Alan Faneca waited 6 years. The guy was a 6-time first-team All-Pro, 2000s All-Decade team, was absolutely getting into the Hall of Fame. It took 6 years. Same thing with Kevin Mawai, our guy who had to wait a half a decade to get into the Hall of Fame. And so, I look at a guy like Joe Thomas, and Joe Thomas's credentials are the same as Faneca's. 6-time first-team All-Pro, 2010s All-Decade. Jari Evans is in that same boat. He was a 4-time first-team All-Pro, but he was an All-Decade team member. And look, I think Jari Evans in time is going to get in. Just going to have to wait his turn, man. There is such a bad... The fact that Torrey Holt has been waiting 9 years, it's just incredible to me. The fact that Andre Johnson was not a first-ballot Hall of Famer is jaw-dropping. But that's the kind of backlog they have right now, trying to get into Canton. So we'll know the finalists in January. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. We usually have Tigers in the pros. Sean Salisbury in about 15 minutes. Don't you move.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You know where to find them at Clegg's Nursery. And remember, the Poinsettia Open House is coming up. More than 10,000 poinsettias in the greenhouse there at Greenwell Springs. It is spectacular to see. And again, it's coming up on Sunday, the 27th. So you're talking about this Sunday at the Clegg's on Greenwell Springs from 10 until 2. The Saints don't play until 3:30. So 10 until 2 Sunday, the Poinsettia Open House. You can take pictures with Santa. You can write a letter to Santa and mail it directly to the North Pole. 35 different varieties of poinsettias. You can learn more at the website or at their Facebook page, and you can go see all their Christmas decor as well. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
At Thanksgiving, Corvell Toyota wants to take the time to thank you for your business. We could not be in business for over 50 years without you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you from Corvell Toyota in Opelousas.
Thank you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. We're glad you're with us. We'll touch Sean Salisbury coming up after the top of the hour. We'll also get a look at a preview of the CFP rankings and an interesting theory from Mike Tannenbaum earlier today about a Tom Brady-Sean Payton union, possibly in New Orleans. That's all coming up in hour 3. Right now, Musso has Tigers in the Pro.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Alrighty, let's start in the NBA last night. Trendon Watford for the Portland Trailblazers. Looking at 13 minutes off the bench, 3 of 4 from the floor for a total of 10 points in the game. Would add 4 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Was perfect from behind the arc and perfect from the free throw line. The Blazers, though, they lost to the Bucks, 119-111. Naz Reid last night gave 16 minutes off the bench for the Minnesota Timberwolves in a victory. Shot 3 of 9 from the floor, 75% from the free throw line. 9 points in all for Naz. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, blocked 1 shot.
Should have stayed. Totally should have stayed.
100%.
I mean, he would have gotten 2 blocks.
2 blocks, maybe some double figures there.
Maybe. I mean, of course.
Yeah, you're right. Not maybe. Really wouldn't have even been close. NBA G League action from last night. Affiliate of your New Orleans Pelicans, the Birmingham Squadron. That's where we find Javonte Smart. 30 minutes in the game last night. 12 points for Javonte. 2 steals, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Shot 40% from the floor. And the Squadron, much like the Pelicans, got the win last night in their game. And how about Darius Days? So Darius Days is playing for the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, affiliate of the Houston Rockets. 26 minutes last night for Darius Days. 22 points, 8 of 13 shooting, 3 rebounds, rounded out his night. Did get in a little bit of foul trouble. 4 fouls for Darius Days. But all in all, a really solid night there. NBA action tonight. The Brooklyn Nets, they're in action. Eye out for Ben Simmons and Cam Thomas.
By the way, the Brooklyn Nets are in action tonight in
Philadelphia,
which will be the first time that Ben Simmons has played a game in Philadelphia in more than 800 days, considering the injury and then being traded. So That is a story that I don't know if it leads SportsCenter tonight or all the shows, but that is going to be a heavily talked about storyline with Ben Simmons returning to play a game in Philadelphia for the first time in like almost 3 years.
I'm sure they'll treat him well. In the city of brotherly love. Yeah. 8-point favorites, the Nets. That's interesting. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Is there anything better this time of year than giving the lady in your life a gift in the Little Red Box from Lee Michaels? Gentlemen, maybe it's time to pop the question. You need that engagement ring. Nobody has a better selection than Lee Michaels. The finest diamonds at a wonderful price, and you always get the Lee Michaels experience no matter your budget. Give her the gift in the Little Red Box this Christmas. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. All right, Sean Salisbury coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. A couple of things. Of course, a lot of people love to give vehicles as a gift during the holidays. Great time right now to search the inventory at South Point Volkswagen. Maybe you got that high school or college senior that's going to be graduating and you're starting to think would be a great gift. How about a Christmas gift if it's a car, if it's that vehicle? Great affordable vehicles at South Point. We're talking about vehicles that are stylish, have all the great German engineering. They got the great luxury as well without the cost, and manufactured right here in the US of A at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. It's at South Point Volkswagen. Nobody sells more Volkswagens in Louisiana than South Point Volkswagen. That's why they can always give you the best deal. Airline just north of Highland or online at southpointvw.com. You can even reserve your new ID4. That's the all-electric vehicle at South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Disgraced Plaquemine Police Chief Kenny Payne bonded out of jail on 5 felony charges today. It follows a grand jury indictment where he's accused of soliciting sexual favors to have charges dropped. Hear what he had to say to our cameras. I'm Chris Nakamoto. Catch those stories and more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Tonight will mark the first time Ben Simmons plays as a visitor in Philadelphia when he and the Nets visit a 76ers team that will be without the injured Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Tyrese Maxey. The game comes about 9 months after the long-building divorce between Simmons and the Sixers came to a conclusion with his trade to Brooklyn. Considering the hatred Philadelphia has for Simmons, there's only one way he has a big-time performance tonight, believes ESPN's Tim Legler.
It's in large part because the Nets get out to a lead because the Sixers are shorthanded, and he gets into a comfort zone because there's no pressure on him to make plays late in the game. If they get up double digits, they're up 15-20 in the first half, you're going to see Ben Simmons relax, and maybe he has a good stat line.
Tim Legler on First Take. No LeBron James again for the Lakers tonight against the Suns. He's out a fifth straight game with a groin strain. Manchester United confirmed Cristiano Ronaldo and the club mutually agreed to part ways effective immediately. ESPN reported last week that Man U was seeking to terminate Ronaldo's contract following his criticism of the club and manager in an interview. Baseball, the Phillies extended GM Dave Dombrowski's contract through 2027.
How would you love a chance to save some money on car insurance? Geico can help. Switch today and see all the ways you could save with great rates and discounts. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com to get a rate quote and get started seeing how much you could save.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. College football playoff rankings revealed. The made-for-TV show is coming up in about an hour. We'll see if, in fact, SC has leapfrogged LSU the way they did in the APN coaches poll. We'll get to that. And also, at the bottom of this hour, could Sean Payton and Tom Brady be headed for a union after this season? Maybe in New Orleans. One analyst said that's a possibility. We'll talk about it bottom of this hour. Always love when we get to chat with Sean Salisbury. Joins us every Tuesday here in hour number 3. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Thanks as always, man. How are you?
No, I'm doing well, and happy Thanksgiving week to you, brother.
Happy Thanksgiving to you as well, man. Hope it's awesome for you and the fam. Hey, I want to start. We'll get to Saints NFL in the second segment. I'm going to start with LSU, in particular here on A&M week, and you being so close to that. I want to start by asking what has gone so terribly wrong for the Aggies this year.
A lot, Matty. I seem to think about this or pontificate about it a lot in my own mind, and try to, with all the different colleges that are in Houston, got to cover them all. And and as a guy who's in school for 2 more, at least with A&M, get my master's in about 2 weeks, I follow them close. I graduate in another 2 weeks. Not a pat on the back, but
that's awesome,
I'm proud
man.
of it. So
dude.
I get my master's with about a 3.95, my man. In about 2 weeks. And my dumb ass is sitting here thinking, am I going to go to law school after this? And don't ask me any reason why. But or Dr. Salisbury's next. I don't know, man. So I have all my buddies have to call me that. My son, and my affinity for LSU, and my son is an A&M grad. So I watched the program closely and pretty. I like to think pretty dialed in with what's going on there. It comes down to this. I try not to be overly critical of kids or coaches in college, but that's the way it is with name, image, and likeness. It's gotten different. We almost treat them like pros now. But this football program, One is I honestly, I know that I'll get an argument from this. I think Jimbo Fisher's plate's too full. I do. I think Jimbo Fisher needs to decide he wants to be a head coach. And I know you say, well, it happens at other programs. It does, but I'm not sure. I think it takes a unique person to especially in college. Here's what you got to do as a head coach. You got to be a great recruiter, which he obviously is. And name image like this helps all of them. They got money. You got to be a play caller, which you don't have to be. That's what he is. Now you got to be a head coach. So you got to be a guy who understands all the tasks at the university. You got to shake hands and kiss babies, and then you got to lead men, and these young men, and then you got to recruit the guys you've already recruited. And then on Saturday, because I'm just telling you, the play calling and the lack of offense reflects his schedule. I'm just telling you, there's not enough hours. Jack Del Rio sat in my office about a little over a year ago, and he said, as assistant coaches, you got about 6 to 8 hours a day as a position coach to yourself. Maybe is what he said, sitting right face to face. And then he said, as a coordinator, you got about 2 to 4 hours, if you're lucky, a day to yourself. He goes, as a head coach, you need 2 more hours. Now, this is talking about the NFL. Now, I want you to go through all the things I just named, and then you got to manage the personnel, all these recruits to keep them happy that are there, and then call plays, which is tough enough, and then be the head coach. That's one. I think his plate's way too full for a guy at this stage of his career. Should trust in his coaching staff enough to delegate and allow some of these guys to call plays. I understand if you're 25 or 35 and you're calling plays, getting into it, but there comes a point in time, unless you're a special cat. Now, people say, what about Leach? Well, Mike hasn't won a national title. I know Mike well, and you and I have talked about it. But Mike, he got a play sheet of about to fit in the palm of your hand, and Mike's not a shake hands and kiss babies guy. Mike doesn't want to do that, even though but you don't see him doing a lot of that. He's glad handing. Jimbo is a glad hander, and he's got to do it at A&M. They require it even more when you got him. So I know people don't talk about it. I'm just telling you, at least the optics tell me. 2 is they have underachieved. They've started 3 quarterbacks in about 6 different ways this year. The best one's the freshman from Bridgeland, who's playing now, Connor Wegman, or Wegman, I guess is how it's pronounced. So there's that. And so the veterans and the young guys, there's been injuries, I get it, but everybody has them. And they've underachieved dearly. And so with that in mind, he's got to decide this offseason, do I trust my staff? Am I good enough? And, I think Jimbo is a rabbit-eared guy at times, too. He hears and reads everything. We saw the stuff with Nick Saban. So, I think there's a lot more layers to it, and I know we don't have enough time to do it, but I think they're underachieving. I think right now they're the most overrated program this season. This is the most overrated and underachieving program in the country for the money they pay him, the expectations, his record's just like Kevin Sumlin, and I like Jimbo. And then you'll get the excuses. Well, they're playing offensive linemen that are young, and 18 and 19-year-olds impact college football every week. Every year they're as good of players as we have. That's why those guys leave after 3 years on campus and are the first picks of the draft, because they're good. So I hear all the excuses, but I don't see them excel other than in the COVID year. And I get it, and they're good. But and the truth is, they've had lack of production from the quarterback position and from that offense. Their offense isn't very good. And if LSU plays normal, they're going to beat them. But you got to be careful because where it's at. But I think there's a lot wrong. Recruiting's involved. Guys are going to leave, I'm telling you. So I think Jimbo's next move, if he wants to try and be successful, is start delegating some authority and trusting your staff to do their job. If not, find somebody else.
Speaking of the LSU game, Sean, on Saturday, which is obviously the immediacy, and there's a ton on the line for LSU, what is the scenario? Is there a matchup where A&M could give LSU trouble?
First off, the matchup is if you're A&M, there's got to be a little pride. I was talking to somebody earlier today, Maddie, about this, thinking, okay, you're A&M. Going into I had a guy calling my show the other day who was a diehard A&M guy, regular on my show, and he said, we were going through breaking it down. I interrupted him, and when he had a pregnant pause, I said, what were you, because they were breaking down the excuses that we all make for A&M at times, and for any of our colleges and our schools. And I said, what was your expectation about A&M this year? Oh, playoff. Yet they expect a playoff, but then I get they're undermanned. They got a lot of young players and recruits. You got to give them time. How much time I got to give them? How much time I got to give them? I mean, I keep giving them time. LSU, Well, can't I make the same argument? Brian Kelly walks in, they got a chance at the playoff. So, and I know it sounds like I'm getting after A&M. I'm not. I'm just being fair because all the hype they got, the best recruiting class in the world. So I'll tell you how you can get them is if LSU, and we see it in the NFL every week, you try to guard against it. I guarantee Brian's going to guard against it. He's going to say, listen, put a wall between us and the SEC championship game because there's got to be some pride. What dangerous teams in football and in sports are teams that, well, they got nothing to lose. Cut it loose. If you're transferring, cut it loose. If you're going to stick around, cut it loose. If you're trying to impress your coach, because coaches want to see who's quitting on them late in the year. Well, if you're Jimbo and you're calling plays, what do you got to lose other than to just let it rip? Those are dangerous teams because if you're not afraid to lose, you can do some things. And if you're LSU and you kind of tread lightly, you're going into Kyle Field last week. The UMass hung around in their building. It was rainy. Nobody was there. They went in and out. Everybody was laughing at him. People across the country are laughing at him. We all got a little pride as people and as athletes. The last thing you want is the day after Thanksgiving when you're turkey settling is to watch LSU waltz in there and beat you 38-10. LSU's capable of it. So the way is if LSU gets sloppy on offense and allows a couple home runs on defense, meaning the big play, the chunk play, where all of a sudden you're up 10-3 and they go boom, boom with two big 70-yard runs and a throw, and now you're chasing. And it's like, well, wait, and that's Kyle Field because it's going to be packed. Mm-hmm. It's LSU, and there's a lot for them to play for to ruin LSU because this game doesn't just have effect on this one. This one eliminates LSU, as you know. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. And A&M would love nothing more than to do that. Dangerous teams that have got nothing to lose other than another game become a real problem. So you got to be – this is a dangerous game that LSU should win, but A&M got something to play for, and that's to either keep recruits or show recruits that they haven't quit.
Sean Salisbury is with us. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Let me knock out a break, Sean. I want to come back. I do want your thoughts on the LSU-USC debate if it comes down to that. And did the Saints turn the corner? We're going to get to that with Sean Salisbury. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. That's us. That's Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. I tell you all the time, I'm more than happy to help facilitate for you. As a matter of fact, a good friend, Sally, helped her today, and they got quotes from a lot of different companies and ultimately went with us because of the job that our staff on site did in communicating with her. So big tip of the cap to my guy Scott on our crew who made it happen. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. If it's roof repairs, roof replacements, there's so many things that set us apart. And listen, I'll tell you, fortified roofing, I've told you a lot about that, but ultimately, the last week our phones have been ringing off the hook. Why? It rained last weekend. Say it all the time. There's only two ways to find out if you got roof damage. One, call us, let us come do a free, no-obligation roofing inspection, or wait for it to rain and you get water in your house. One of those options is better than the other. So we'd love to give you a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Okay, we'll continue with Sean Salisbury next on AFR.
AFR. Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% with 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard.
OC Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of OC Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime. This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 7.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we continue with Sean Salisbury. Sean, I'm going to get to Saints here in a second, but I got to know, we're going to get these college football playoff rankings in a little bit. The great debate may very well come down to 2-loss LSU, SEC champ, 1-loss Southern Cal, Pac-12 champ. Dare I ask, what say you? Did we lose him? All right, we'll see if he's still there. All that dramatic setup and complete silence on the other end. We got him? Okay. Sean, I don't know if you heard my super dramatic setup there, but if it comes down to it, 2-loss LSU, 1-loss Southern Cal for that final playoff spot. What do you think?
If the committee has LSU in front of USC tonight, if LSU runs the table, they'll be in.
You think so?
I do. I think that tonight, now, here's the key is they're going to obviously hold Notre Dame, and that's at least that's my gut. And depending on how they play this week, obviously, SC playing Notre Dame, which is a much tougher game. So that may – put it this way. You're going to get an idea what the committee's thinking tonight. Now, we go, meaning USC, beat Notre Dame and beat them at our building, and LSU goes and beats A&M. The question is, how severe are they going to treat strength of schedule this year? Obviously, a win over Notre Dame's strength of schedule would be bigger, and maybe next week they trump them. But I think that the committee's trying to tell you something if LSU wins, because if LSU goes and wins this one and goes and beats Georgia, I don't think that the talk we've had before, me and you, that I think that's going to solidify a 2-loss LSU team, which much stronger. If that the committee's telling you tonight, if they got them in front of Southern Cal, how they feel about them after last week's games, okay, and who they beat. That's one. Two is now, if LSU wins and Southern Cal wins and then the Pac-12, and they're both impressive, obviously if they lose, they're out. So I think that there's a chance now next week, at the end of this weekend's games, both of them win, depending on how impressive. That is where they could jump them. I don't know if they're going to jump them with the UCLA win, but with Notre Dame and the Texas A&M thing, they could, depending on how impressive they are. I think the Heisman Trophy frontrunner, if he plays well against Notre Dame, resides at SC. Caleb Williams has been consistently the best player in college football this year. He's a freak, and that's not. I'm critical of my program there, but he's been with that defense. and what he's had to overcome this year, the Heisman Trophy is his to lose. It's not Corum's and it's not C.J. Stroud's. And in a national game, if he wins it. So here's the way I look at it. Obviously, if TCU wins, they're in. Georgia wins, they're in. The winner of Ohio State, Michigan wins, they're in. And if USC runs the table, those are your four. If it goes chalk, that is who is going to be in the final. There's no question about it. If LSU loses to Georgia, TCU, the real argument comes that if TCU and LSU lose and Clemson, Southern Cal run the table and Michigan loses to Ohio State or Michigan beats Ohio State by 3, now the argument really begins. That's when it's going to go get chaotic. If that's the way it works, you're going to have Clemson who's going to make the argument. They're going to say, well, our loss to Notre Dame. SC is going to have their argument that they went on the road and lost to Utah. We already know that Michigan, if they lose to Ohio State, or if Ohio State loses, they're going to say, hang on one second. Look at our schedule has been better than Michigan's. We deserve to go. And that's, again, if LSU – well, who does let's see, TCU's got to deal with Iowa State at home in Fort Worth this week. So I don't know, and then Kansas State next week. So that's not out of the woods yet because they barely got out last week. So if it goes chalk and those teams win, I do believe in the end, well, obviously if LSU loses, SC's going to bypass them. I think there's a legitimate chance after this weekend, even if the committee puts LSU now, that's how they're thinking. But if SC's able to handle Notre Dame this weekend, I would think that they're going to take that win more impressive than an A&M win by LSU, and I think that's when they could jump them. And then the championship game will come into play. If LSU beats Georgia, then the conversation's really going to begin as long as SC wins the Pac-12 championship with those two schools.
Yeah, LSU is the potential monkey wrench. If you end up with a 2-loss SEC champ. For what it's worth, as of now, LSU strength of schedule 15, Southern Cal 58. So
there is no doubt, and they're going to take that into and I believe to the date that's why they, even with 2 losses, they have LSU ahead of SC, and I don't argue that, even though it's my alma mater at all. But the Notre Dame, where they're ranked now, how they've come along, how bad A&M's been, but they'll still look at strength of schedule. And one thing about this, Matty, think about this: we could literally have 2 teams from one conference, and then two champions in the other conference in the Pac-12 and ACC not make the playoff. Think about that for a second. We could literally have Clemson, ACC champ, with 1 loss, Southern Cal with 1 loss, a team with 2 losses, and then a Georgia team with 1 loss get in, and Michigan, who if they lost with 1 loss, and then 2 champions of their Power 5 conferences not make the playoff. Yeah. It could be really odd if LSU goes and runs this table and is able to beat Georgia on a difficult task in Atlanta, but there's still a lot of business to be taken care of for a handful of teams now.
Yeah. So look, two weeks, tons of games still to play.
That's right.
A lot of things will shake.
But I don't have any problem right now, Matty, with LSU. I got my, how I feel. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I don't have any problem right now with the strength of schedule with two losses at LSU's ahead of USC. Because if you're the committee and you're watching defense, you've got to be concerned about the way USC has to win. But then you look at the quarterback and say, good gracious, this dude is a freak show. So it'll be fun, but these things kind of take care of themselves, but I kind of like the chaos, so I'd love it all if LSU did their business, SC took care of theirs, and we had to make a decision. But there's going to be a lot that goes on between now and then.
The chaos breeds change.
Yes, it does, brother.
And we all agree. Like, I know you and I agree on this. Like, we want an expanded playoff. I want games. I want this played on the field. I don't want this determined in a hotel ballroom. So
you can't tell me that the 5th team, let's say it's LSU that got left out.
Yeah.
You can't tell me they can't go on a roll and win the championship, that they can't beat the number 1 team in the country or number 2 team. You can't tell me if Caleb Williams gets hot, he can't go in and boat race Ohio State in a playoff or Michigan. Of course he can. Now, when you get to the 22nd team, okay, I get it, to roll all the way, not like basketball, to roll all the way through the playoffs, and you got to be physical. But yeah, we need an expanded playoff, so I'm here for it all. And of course, I root for my Trojans to get in because I think the turnaround's been phenomenal with the way they've turned it around so quickly.
It has been. Caleb Williams obviously has been just a massive part of that. He's
no question, no doubt.
He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, I'll ask it open-ended. Did the Saints turn the corner this weekend?
I got to see more, Matty, for you to prove me that. I know that we keep talking about the quarterback, and they keep they got an affinity for Andy Dalton, obviously. I think he gives them. Remember we talked last week? They made the decision to go with Andy, and they obviously feel for them right now. He gives them the best chance to win. Isn't it amazing? We're saying that they turned the corner and they got 4 wins, right?
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Oh,
it's odd.
I don't think they turned the corner. I think this is just a glimmer, a one-off.
Right. I agreed. I think I saw it. They played well. They didn't turn it over. Didn't give up sacks. Didn't beat up on Stafford. Had a backup after Matt got knocked around. When you look at the stats, if you do it, I watched the game, and they played a good game. And we know the ability they have, but to me, it's that they won a game. I could go through. I'm not all of a sudden going to tell you Detroit's back. I don't know if they ever were here. They left, but I don't think Minnesota's going away after this embarrassment they had, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to win the rest of their games that Philadelphia's done, even though they didn't look good the last 2 weeks, winning last week. So I think they won a game, but back, and I got to see more for them to prove to me. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think one team from that division does, and I think the team that you mentioned, the Brady Sean Payton thing, I think that they're primed for a pretty decent run here. They got Cleveland this week, and if they do and get hot and they could roll into January with 5 or 6 straight wins, could be a little dangerous in the NFC. But the Saints got to prove to me more that they can sustain this. I think it was a good game. I don't think they're capable of doing that 6 straight weeks.
I completely agree. The other thing, I'm not sure if you saw Jameis Winston's comments, but
I did. Yeah.
Okay. And for those that haven't, Jameis said, "It hurts my soul. I lost my job due to injury. The policy's always been you don't lose your job because of injury." I'll just ask for your reaction to what Jameis said.
First off, if he'd have locked the job down before injury, meaning played out of to the point where you're craving him to the point you say we realize we can't win without him, right? Consistently, then I guess he'd have an argument. But Jameis, I just need to let him know. And first off, I feel for the guy. I know the feeling. Anybody that's been there or watched somebody close to you go through that, it sucks. It does. And when he says it hurts my soul, it tells me the guy loves football, and I know he wants to win. His inconsistencies and his great flashes of brilliance, and then his what are you doing has allowed doubt to creep into the Saints. But I got to let him know, man, that policy hasn't been in place, for 3 decades. And quite frankly, the truth is it's really never been in place, although that's that old baseball unwritten rule. You can't throw at a guy inside, right? You can't throw a fastball at a guy's rib cage or up around his shoulder, right? This unwritten rule, whatever that is. No, he's wrong. I can have him call up. I was at the game when Trent Green went down and blew out his knee and Kurt Warner took over. I was in the building doing the stuff for ESPN. Ask Trent Green and Kurt Warner about that. Ask Drew Bledsoe and Peyton Manning Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady, because Drew Bledsoe was a really good player. And they made the switch to Brady, and injuries cause it. It happens at every position all the time. Jameis left his glove out on the mound at times, and he allowed somebody else to pick it up. The starting quarterback for their future, I'll say it again, is not on their roster, meaning who they're going forward with in the next handful of years or maybe even in the immediate next 2 years. Their future is not on this roster at that position. So it tells you how they feel, maybe with a new coach, if they get a new coach, maybe, but I feel bad for Jameis, but the fact of the matter is he's dead wrong on the policy thing. You're damn right you can lose your job due to injury. It happens all the time. It's just at quarterback, since we only play one, you don't think you can. For you not to lose your job at quarterback, you better be destined for a mustard-colored jacket. And he unfortunately isn't a Hall of Famer, but he's a hell of a talent. The fact of the matter is the inconsistencies have led it, and if Dalton were to get hurt, he leaves his glove on the. It's an unfortunate part of the business. You don't get to keep your job due to injury. I don't believe in it, and most people don't either. And as a coach, I wouldn't believe in it either. The other guy plays better, or you think he's playing better, or perception is, you don't get to keep your job due to injury. I don't care who you are.
He is Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Of course, mornings here on Sports Talk 790 in Houston. So much content you'll find on YouTube and all over the place. Make sure you're following Sean on all the socials, and you'll get links to all of it. Hey, man, happy Thanksgiving. We always appreciate your time and being available to the audience, man.
I appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Thanks for getting into these great topics. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm grateful for you, man, and your great show. Thank you.
Likewise. It's a pleasure. Sean Salisbury with us every Tuesday here on AFR. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. 288-8138, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. That's energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. Listen, if you have family coming over for the Christmas holiday, you could literally start the process of getting vinyl siding on your home today and have it done before Christmas. In about 2 weeks' time, you could go from what your home's exterior currently looks like to what would look on the exterior like a brand new home. Siding finished in whatever color you want that will pop beautiful, won't chip or scratch or peel, is fire resistant, weather resistant. It'll make your home more energy efficient. Learn more at reliefwindows.com. Just hit the siding tab to learn more. And in about 2 weeks' time, from that first call, your home could look brand new on the exterior. It's Relief Windows, 288-8138 for Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, in about 30 minutes from right now, it is the college football playoff. Whatever they call it, the show, the ranking. What do they call it? The ranking show?
Yeah, I think it's like the college football top 25. College football playoff top 25 rankings.
Oh, God.
It's your favorite thing ever. You can't wait. Stop acting like you're not excited.
It doesn't matter. I mean, Sean was, I respect tremendously, and he was even saying, like, look, the committee, maybe they put USC ahead of LSU this week, but because of strength of schedule, wouldn't be opposed if LSU was still ahead. But next week, if SC beats Notre Dame, they should leapfrog LSU because that'd be a better win than A&M. But then what happens then when LSU beats it? Should LSU beat Georgia? That's the hypothetical we're all playing is, 2-loss LSU would be the monkey wrench in the whole thing. We just get, do you remember the first week? Everyone was just incensed the first week. Why?
But TCU wasn't in there.
Because TCU was out. And a week later, and every week subsequent, TCU's been in there. And all of that bitching and moaning and screaming was worthless. And last week, Tennessee fans on the outside looking in. And they got Reese Davis saying, I put in Tennessee in over LSU. Well, guess what? That just took care of itself. Because Tennessee went and gave up 63 points to South Carolina. It just, I get why they do it. It's conversation. It gets people talking about the playoff and all. But the thing that I'll just continue to reiterate is the fact that we can have the conversation about so many teams is the evidence of why we need an expanded playoff. And we're headed there. And I'm looking forward to the day. And I know there's this argument, well, then the college, people say, well, the regular season doesn't matter. That's such baloney. Like, stop guzzling the Kool-Aid. Do you know what would happen in turn? Is you would have more teams playing meaningful games in November. You'd be playing for home games, or you'd be playing for a bye, or you'd be playing to get in. Like, don't tell me that the games become insignificant. More games become significant because more games affect the structure and the participants of the playoff. It's not hard. It's not hard to understand. This isn't some drastic, dramatic foreign idea. It's what literally every team in the history, every sport in the history of mankind, it's what they do to crown their champion. You have a playoff. College football has just been beholden to this ancient bowl system forever, and it's stupid and antiquated, and too many of you believe the nonsense they sell you when it's just the wealthy becoming wealthy off those games that sell you on the sanctity of the regular season. No. Decided on the field, not in a ballroom in Dallas. All right, it's after further review. Former NFL executive suggested a possible union of Sean Payton and Tom Brady next year, and maybe in New Orleans. Oh, got to hear this next.
AFR.
Tuesday shows brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Quick reminder, Insurance Network of Louisiana will be closed Thursday for Thanksgiving and on Black Friday. So, if with the holidays approaching, and everybody knows around Christmas time, it's just a very expensive time of year. A lot of people are spending money on presents and all the things that go along with the holidays, and it can be a financially stressful time. So everyone looks for one of two things. How do I either make more money to pay for the holidays, or how do I save money? Well, Insurance Network of Louisiana can help with the latter. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana or log on to lainsurance.net. let them shop independently for free to find you better coverage for less money. In some instances, we've seen them save people $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 over the course of a year. How much could you save on your insurance? Call 293-0450 or online, lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we get to Auto Locks here, a little more than 10 minutes from right now. Jimmy will tell us what we're betting on tonight, so looking forward to that as always. Okay. One of the biggest questions that has and will continue to follow the Saints is Sean Payton's future, for a lot of obvious reasons. The Saints still have Sean Payton under contract, so if Sean Payton decides he wants to come out of his semi-retirement to coach again, wherever he goes, that team will have to compensate the New Orleans Saints, very likely to the tune of draft compensation, which, whatever that may be, will vary based on who you ask. But optimistically, a first-round pick, maybe a couple of second-round picks. Don't know. We'll see what that is in time. So there's a lot of Saints fans, yours truly included, that are very excited about Sean Payton coaching again because when he does, the Saints are going to very likely recoup draft capital, of which they don't have much, and need to rebuild this roster. Well, Mike Tannenbaum was on Get Up earlier today and was talking about Tom Brady's future and what it looks like after this season. And the conversation came up about what Brady might do, and it involved Sean Payton. I need you to play the audio, Muse. This is just buffering.
Sean Payton and Tom Brady have the same agent, and they could be a package deal. There's a number of teams out there, Carolina, New Orleans, maybe Las Vegas, Arizona, that could be looking for possibly a head coach and a quarterback. I think this is really intriguing because if he keeps playing and he goes someplace else, it's not going to be for a rebuild, and he's going to go with somebody that knows how to coach offense, and Sean Payton would be an ideal partner.
That's fascinating. Can you play it again?
Sean Payton and Tom Brady have the same agent, and they could be a package deal. There's a number of teams out there, Carolina, New Orleans, maybe Las Vegas, Arizona, that could be looking for
okay. Let's look at those four. Sean Payton, we've known, wants to be, has said, look, people close to him, that he wants to be coastal. Miami, LA, something like that. Okay. You can scratch off Carolina. Sean Payton didn't go into Carolina. He's not going to coach in the division with the Carolina Panthers. You got a super wealthy owner. Everybody's got wealthy owners, but that ain't the play. Sean Payton ain't going to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. That ain't it. Okay. The other three would be Las Vegas, Arizona, and New Orleans. That Tannenbaum mentioned there. Notice he didn't mention the Chargers, and the reason he didn't mention the Chargers is because the Chargers have a great young quarterback. This would be as a tandem deal if Brady and Payton went to coach and play together, which we know on the record was considered in Miami. Those two considered doing this in Miami, okay? We all know what happened with Miami this offseason. There still remains a very real possibility that the Chargers fire Staley and hire Sean Payton, and he goes and lives in L.A. and coaches the Chargers and has Justin Herbert, and I get it. That would make a ton of sense. That is the best option for Sean Payton. Young quarterback, entering his prime. You got him for the next decade. I get it. Tom Brady, 45 years old, might on fumes. What does he have left? But you better believe that if Payton and Brady team together to go somewhere, they're going to go somewhere where there's a roster that looks like it can compete. Arizona's roster ain't one that can compete. So scratch them off the list. Las Vegas, you thought, and you got one of the best receivers in the NFL there, but is that a product of Josh McDaniels? They may be just not as good as we thought they were. And are they willing to move on from Carr? The one that is super intriguing is the one that nearly happened several years ago when Tom Brady went to Tampa before 2020. Had Breeze stayed retired, and we've all heard this story now. It's been written about. Had Breeze retired, as was the plan, there was a very real possibility that the Saints were going to be able to court Tom Brady, and you had a Sean Payton, Tom Brady union in New Orleans. Instead, Breeze returned, and Brady went to Tampa. It ain't crazy. I'm still going to tell you this, and I want to be very clear. The most likely scenario, in my opinion, is the Chargers fire Staley and hire Sean Payton, and the Saints get draft compensation from the Chargers. That's my opinion of what is the most likely scenario. But of what Mike Tannenbaum, what he just suggested, he being a former NFL general manager who is certainly connected and is now on ESPN, and he brings up the point, of course, Tom Condon is the agent for both Sean Payton and Tom Brady, the fact that they could potentially, I'm sorry, not Condon, it's Yee, isn't it? I think Tom Condon was Drew Brees' agent. I think Yee is Sean Payton and Tom Brady's agent. Let me know. It is?
Yeah, Donald Yee.
Okay, Donald Yee is their agent. I think Tom Condon has Drew Brees. Anyway, tangent, whatever. Of what Tannenbaum said, if you believe he's credible in the way he said it in the four teams he listed, Carolina, Las Vegas, Arizona, New Orleans, the only one that really makes sense is New Orleans. So if this thing unravels and they fire DA after 1 year, who says you can't go home? It may actually be the perfect marriage for Brady to come in with Sean Payton, reset for another year until you get back on track with your draft capital, and then you can plan for the future beyond that. I might put that likelihood at 6%, but as the great Lloyd Christmas once said, so you're telling me there's a chance? I didn't say it. Mike Tannenbaum said it. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Do Otter Locks next. It's AFR.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
Buying or selling, call Darren James. Get your home sold. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. I want to remind you, 73%, nearly 3 out of 4 people that list their home for sale by owner end up hiring a realtor. And the reason, there's a lot of them. It's the possibility that you don't list your home and price it appropriately. Maybe it's just all of the mountains of paperwork and filings that you have to do that you're not familiar with. Maybe you have a job and you don't have time to be at your home all day, every day for showings when people are interested. If you need to sell your home in a fast, efficient manner and get top dollar, you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Buying or selling, call Darren James. Get your home sold.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Enter now for a chance to win a catch and cook fishing experience from the Louisiana Charter Boat Association with me, Chef Jay Ducote, winner of Beat Bobby Flay. Register now at gocatch.com. That's GEAUX catch.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our night.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Better coverage for less money. Call 293-0450 or visit lainsurance.net. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, hope you're feeling better. Welcome back. How are you?
Yes, indeed. Feeling better. Matt, I caught your conversation about Coach of the Year on a national basis. It's a great conversation. You know, the thing I base it on a lot is just exceeding expectations. Mm-hmm. And here's the tape. According to the preseason win totals, three coaches are 2.5 ahead of their win total. Illinois, Oregon State, and LSU. LSU was 6.5. They've won 9 so far. Lincoln Riley is only a half game ahead of his right now. They were 9.5 preseason. Number 3, third best, 3 above their win total projection. Willie Fritz, Tulane, preseason total was 6. They're at 9-2. Number 2, Lance Leipold, 2.5 preseason, 2.5 win total. He's at 6-5, 3.5. And number 1, you know this, Fort Worth, 4.5 games ahead of their win total in a Power 5. So Gary Patterson, as far as that goes, that gives you a little bit of an idea where that might be headed.
Sonny Dykes. Gary Patterson.
Sonny Dykes.
No, I know.
I'm under the weather, man.
No, man. Old habits die hard, too. I mean, it's hard to think of anybody at TCU but Gary Patterson. But, yeah, man.
He had Texas. He had the Longhorns.
He is the job Sonny Dykes has done. I mean, if they polish this off this week at 12-0, I don't know how you go any other direction.
No, you can't. You can't. And no, that's a decent league this year.
Yeah.
And, and they played some decent non-conference as well. So, I mean, that's just, what do you do with that? Man, it's supposed to be a middle-of-the-road 500 type of team. They're 11-0. All right, Maction is Maction. We're back in Maction tonight.
I love Maction action. I do. I love it.
For the divisional championship, we talked about Ohio, and after a little bit of a misstep last year, first year removed from Frank Solich, his hand-chosen predecessor, who was with him in Nebraska as well, has really righted the ship well over their win total this year at 5.5. But they're without their backup their starting quarterback tonight. Curtis Rourke went down in that win last week where they did win and cover, but they have won and covered. And I think that even though it's a drop-off to C.J. Harris, who was only 5 of 8 for 34 yards in that win last week against Ball State, I think it's enough to catch Bowling Green here at home. Bowling Green on the road, catching 5.5. Bowling Green, 2-touchdown underdog last week. They win it outright against crosstown rival Toledo. And I just think it's too much for them to follow up going to Ohio. We're taking Joe Burrow's old hometown in Athens, Ohio. We're taking the Bobcats. So we're going with minus 5.5. It's going down from 7 to 5.5 because pretty much confirmed that Rourke will be out as the starting quarterback for Ohio tonight. And a small play on Ball State, Miami, Ohio. Bruce Marshall gave us earlier today the under 45 in that one. 2 games in matchup tonight.
All right, I'm looking at 44.5 at DraftKings. So on that under, so just obviously, maybe would you? That's it. The under is 45 is minus 110. Let's see if I can find an alternate line. Is it worth paying the juice?
Maybe on 45, maybe on that number, maybe, yeah.
Okay.
But something I don't do too often. I'll wait for like a 3 or a 7 in college. Okay. So, and of course, when we're on the half and when we get to anything under in single digits in college hoops, you always buy the half. So we'll get to that a little bit later. We're questionable whether or not we're going to do the show tomorrow. I'm going to decide at the end of the show. You want some Thanksgiving picks?
Yeah, man, absolutely. You got them.
Ole Miss to bounce back. That was a brutally tough spot last week for them. We were on that one. Hard to put the Bama log in the rearview mirror. And also right before the Egg Bowl, give me Ole Miss minus 2 at home in the Egg Bowl. And they look so bad in the NFL, they usually bounce back. Couldn't have looked much worse than Minnesota did on Sunday. So we're back on the Vikings this week at home against New England.
All right, laying the 2.5.
Yes.
All right, Otter. So Otter has Ole Miss and the Vikings on Thanksgiving tonight. The Ohio Bobcats laying the 5.5, and then under 44.5 or under 45 in the Ball State game as well. All right, Otter, we appreciate. Where are you tonight?
Mike Anderson's.
All right, man. Get you a Burnside salad, my dog.
Yes, indeed. It's the best.
All right, Otter. Have a great one, man. We appreciate
right.
it. That's Jimmy Ott. Game Time with Jimmy Ott. Follows us in Baton Rouge if you're not in Baton Rouge online at 1045ESPN.com. Muse, Paulie, thanks so much. Y'all have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 3 on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Mold Zero. Mold-0USA.com. That's mold-0USA.com. Check them out online. I tell you this all the time. If you notice mold, if mold is a problem, or even odors, Mold Zero can help. And so often people see mold and they think, we're going to have to cut sheetrock. We're going to have to pull things out of the wall. No. With Mold Zero, this is easy. This is minimally invasive with little or no disturbance in that respect. They'll come in. They will spray their fog. You let it dwell. Wait about a couple hours or so for the fog to dissipate. Then you go back into your home. That fog gets into every nook and cranny, so it kills mold and other pathogens. It'll remove odor. They service the entire greater Baton Rouge and greater New Orleans area. So check them out at mold-0USA.com to get that free quote and estimate. Mold-0USA.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corville Toyota in Opelousas, we're happy to say we have vehicles in stock and more coming in at no markup. Don't pay over MSRP. Come on down to Corville Toyota and pick out your new Toyota today. That's Corville Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off